Chapter 576. Discipline. King Axu's furious voice reverberated in the void, echoing throughout the Mountain of Truth. Xing Hui, who had almost flown out of the Mountain of Truth on his sword, frowned slightly. Discipline. King Axu actually knew about his background and planned to ask the Void Walkers, who had a 10th level personal space, to directly attack the Hidden Sword mainland and Eastern Wilderness. The Hidden Sword mainland was entrusted by the Hidden Sword Venerable to look after. If the Hidden Sword mainland was destroyed because of him snatching the Scarlet Sun Demon God, how could he feel at ease? And the Eastern Wastelands was the first piece of land he had come to in this world. It held a special meaning to him. He could not just stand by and watch as Dharma King Iko Su led many golden elixir cultivators to invade. Therefore, the problem of Discipline King Axu must be solved. Dharma King Iko Su's Abhijna is rather effective against me. Unless I use the Sword of Sunburst to break his Abhijna, my other attacks will be completely distorted by his mirror-like Abhijna. If the power of my attack is not enough, he will even shift my attack back to me. And the Sword of Sunburst, the Scarlet Abyss Sword, cannot be used too many times. Xing Hui's Scarlet Abyss Sword was only at the 14th level. Even though he was constantly nourishing it with his essence, chi, and spirit, there was still some time before it could be upgraded to a 5th level divine weapon. It was estimated that only at the moment when the divine power was born could it be upgraded to a 5th level divine weapon. Before reaching the 5th level, the number of times he could use Sunburst was limited. He probably could not completely exhaust Discipline King Axu's divine power before the Scarlet Abyss Sword was broken. After all, no matter how weak a powerful person was, it was not a problem to use 20 to 30 divine powers. Want to kill me? I want to see if the Arcane Arts sect has the ability to do so. Xing Hui turned around. His originally escaping figure once again charged toward the interior of the Mountain of Truth. Seeing that Xing Hui had actually turned around and returned, Discipline King Axu's eyes lit up. He did not expect that threatening him with the Eastern Wilderness and Hidden Sword mainland would actually work. Immediately, he, who had originally planned to reveal the secret that the Scarlet Sun Demon God was on Xing Hui, quickly stopped thinking and charged toward Xing Hui. However, he had only received the attack for a moment when he realized that Xing Hui wasn't coming for him, but he dashed towards the 3 Golden Core Realm Elders of the Arcane Arts sect who had gathered together to kill a foreign cultivator. Be careful! Dharma King Axu shouted. However, it was too late. Xing Hui was riding his sword at full speed. His speed was incomparably fast. The sword light formed by Sky Splitter seemed to be able to truly tear apart the heavens and shatter the vacuum. It drew a fisher-like trajectory in the void at an inconceivable speed as it directly attacked the 3 Golden Core Elders. Before the 3 elders could even react, the Scarlet Abyss Sword's sword light mixed with blazing sword intent had already fiercely collided with the 3 Golden Core Elders. Accompanied by flames and energy ripples that sputtered in all directions, the 3 Golden Core Elders were directly heavily injured, knocked unconscious, and sent into his personal space. Damn it, stop! With a low growl, Discipline King Yi Su stepped on the void and swiftly chased after Xing Hui. Along the way, when the foreign almighties saw him, they actually didn't dare to stop him and quickly avoided him. Since these foreign almighties had set their sights on the meteorite iron continent, they naturally had already thoroughly investigated the many experts on the meteorite iron continent beforehand. They were very familiar with the abilities of Discipline King Yi Su, the second strongest expert on the meteorite iron continent. Therefore, unless it was an existence who had excavated their own Abhijna to the peak level, no one dared to fight him head-on. Swish! Discipline King Yi Su attacked aggressively, but Xing Hui did not fight him head-on at all. Sword light shot out in all directions. Before Discipline King Yi Su could bring him into his attack range, he had already shot toward another Golden Core battlefield. The flying speed of a flying sword itself was related to the spiritual level of a cultivator. Although Xing Hui's spiritual level had not yet reached the 120th level, which was comparable to the level of lawful embodiment of heaven and earth, it had already reached the critical point of the 119th level. Among the many almighties present, Disciplined King Yi Su was probably the only one whose spiritual level could be compared to his. However, the flying sword under his feet was not even at the 11th level, let alone the 12th level. It was only a high-grade 10th level flying sword. Compared to the 12th level Sky Splitter, this flying sword was naturally inferior by more than a level. As a result, he could only watch as Tsing Hui relied on his terrifying speed to constantly avoid his attacks and move around in all directions. In just a few breaths of time, another 2 Golden Core Elders were killed by him and 8 Golden Core Elders were captured alive and kept in his personal space. I can't stop him at all by myself. After chasing for a long time, Disciplined King Yi Su had no choice but to face this reality. I must ask another almighty to cooperate with me. His gaze turned and quickly fell on Saint Emperor Taiyan of the Sacred Evolution Empire. Saint Emperor Taiyan, please help me block Tsing Hui for a moment. Yi Su will definitely reward you handsomely. Saint Emperor Taiyan looked at Tsing Hui, who was standing on a 12th level flying sword and wielding at least a 5th level divine weapon. His eyes were filled with greed and envy, but more than that, he was wary of him. The fact that esteemed Zhu Zhao had given him a 12th level flying sword and 5th level divine weapon showed how important Tsing Hui was to the esteemed Zhu Zhao. As for Tsing Hui himself, he had lived up to esteemed Zhu Zhao's expectations. It was said that he had cultivated for less than 40 years and had reached the level of an upper-grade gold core expert, or even a peerless gold core expert. He had great hopes of becoming an almighty in the future and could be called the seed of an almighty. If such a genius died, esteemed Zhu Zhao would definitely go crazy. When that time came, no force on the meteorite iron continent would be able to withstand his wrath. If Saint Emperor Taiyan dared to intervene, he would have to wait for esteemed Zhu Zhao's revenge and bring about the destruction of the Sacred Evolution Empire. Saint Emperor Taiyan thought to himself. I just received news that the 3 kings of the Sacred Evolution Empire are under attack. I have to rush over to help as soon as possible. I'm afraid there's nothing I can do. With that, he flew to the other side of the battlefield. Damn it! Dharma King Axu turned his gaze and looked at Yuan Shu Celestial Lord who belonged to Star Jade sect in the distance. Yuan Shu Celestial Lord, this brat is arrogant. He wantonly killed the elders of my arcane art sect. Please help me stop this brat. Yuan Shu Star Lord glanced at Dharma King Axu and then at Saint Emperor Taiyan, who was the closest to Dharma King Axu but was now far away. He seemed to have understood something and said, Dharma King Axu, didn't we agree that we would only be responsible for driving away the invaders? This Tsing Hui is not within our range. I'll give you 10% of the materials. If Yuan Shu Star Lord is willing to help me stop this man, the Arcane Sect is willing to give you 10% of the materials to refine the Scarlet Sun demonic god. Yuan Shu Star Lord shook his head. Sorry, I won't help. 30%. 30% of the materials. There's no need to say more, Dharma King Axu. Dealing with the personal disciple of Venerable Zhu Zhao is too risky. The Star Jade sect will not take this risk. Yuan Shu Star Lord did not say anything more to Dharma King Axu. He turned and rushed to the other side of the battlefield, far away from Dharma King Axu and Tsing Hui. Cowardly as a mouse. Tianxiong is already at the end of his rope and Venerable Zhu Zhao can't even protect himself. What's there to be afraid of? Dharma King Axu was furious. However, he also understood that the Star Jade sect and the Saint Evolution dynasty were different from the Arcane sect. The Arcane sect had lost 2 almighties and there was no telling how many Golden Core Elders would fall in this battle. They were destined to suffer great losses and even fall to the bottom of the meteorite continent. For the sake of the sect's legacy, they had to take the risk to capture Tsing Hui and force him to hand over the Scarlet Sun demonic god. This was the only way to ensure the continuation of the sect's legacy. However, the other 7 sacred sects did not need to take this risk and gamble the future of their entire sect. Golden Core. No matter how strong Tsing Hui is, he's only a Golden Core cultivator. I don't believe he can hold on for long. Even if I have to use the life of a Gold Core Realm Elder, I will still capture and kill him. Only by capturing him can our profound art cult be said to still have hope. Otherwise, if I am the only one left bitterly holding on, when this matter is over, the Divine Refinement sect will be the first to not let our profound art cult off. Dharma King Aksu hardened his heart and ordered the Golden Core elders who were fleeing in all directions, everyone, form a battle formation and stop him. I don't hope to defeat him, just stop him so that I can kill him personally. Yes. The many Golden Core elders who received the order felt their hearts go numb, but they still held on and quickly formed a large formation with 20 to 30 people as the foundation. They quickly blocked Tsing Hui's path and compressed Tsing Hui's living space. Not long after, Tsing Hui, who had nowhere to run, had already collided with a battle formation. 26 Golden Core elders. Tsing Hui's eyes narrowed. Sun glory. Man and sword as one, with the Scarlet Abyss sword as a guide, he was like a meteor that tore through the sky, fiercely crashing into the battle formation formed by the 26 Golden Core elders. The moment he crashed into the battle formation, it was as if a scorching sun had been brazenly detonated. A dazzling radiance shone in all directions, so strong that it was almost impossible to open one's eyes. Within that radiance, countless sword lights that seemed to be the same color as the light wildly shot out in all directions. With Tsing Hui as the center, it seemed to form a sword chi storm, instantly engulfing the 26 Golden Core elders at the same time. Even if Tsing Hui deliberately scattered the sword chi and reduced its power, there were still 4 Golden Core elders who died on the spot. As for those who were heavily injured and unable to fight, there were even 12 people who were sent into his personal space with a wave of his hand. There are still 10 more. This is almost equivalent to a Golden Crow's inner core, a full 100 Dao rhythms. Qing Su's figure flickered. Before the 10 Golden Core powerhouses could even return to their senses from the devastating blow, a dazzling streak of light illuminated the sky once more. He heavily injured the 3 Golden Core elders and sent them into his personal space once more. His coordination throughout the entire process had become even more adept. However, this delay allowed Discipline King Yi Su's attack to descend with a loud bang. As the divine mirror-like ability behind him appeared once again, countless mirror lights shone down, completely distorting the void within a radius of dozens of miles where Tsing Hui was. Unfortunately, Tsing Hui, who was already prepared, did not wait for the distorting power to completely form. The power in the Scarlet Abyss sword had already completely erupted. A dazzling and resplendent light burst out from the distorted void, accompanied by a fierce and mighty blazing sword light. It tore a gap in the distorted void, allowing Tsing Hui to successfully escape and once again shoot toward the next Golden Core Elder formation. This kind of attack again, the power of this attack completely exceeds what a Golden Core cultivator like you can possess. Even if you have a peerless Golden Core, or even a Supreme Golden Core, you definitely can't unleash an attack of this level too many times. When you can't unleash an attack of this level again, it'll be the time for you to be captured. Discipline King Yi Su's eyes were filled with uncontrollable fury. The loss of 19 Golden Core elders made his heart ache. However, now, other than walking down the path of darkness, he had no other choice. No matter how great the sacrifice was, he still had to continue. Chapter 577. 144, 146, 149, Tsing Hui broke through the air with his sword. Relying on the advantage of speed brought by the Sky Splitter sword, he left Dharma King Aoshu's pursuit behind him time and time again. In just a few moments, he had already defeated 6 battle formations formed by the Profound Art sect. Including the Golden Elixir Realm Elders he had captured earlier, the number of them had reached 150. As the price for breaking through, his Sunburst sword had also slashed out 8 times. I can't continue like this. Otherwise, the time needed to repair the damage to the Scarlet Abyss sword will increase exponentially. After breaking through this square formation, Tsing Hui had no choice but to stop temporarily. Then, he turned around and transformed into Sword Light, rushing out of the Truth Mountain. Clearly, he was planning to retreat temporarily. Otherwise, if he fell into Dharma King Aoshu's trap again, his life might really be in danger. No. Seeing that Xing Hui had actually turned around and fled after paying such a huge price, Dharma King Aoshu roared furiously, "Xing Hui, I, Aoshu, swear to the heavens that even if I have to go to the ends of the earth, I will cross the void and hunt you down until you die. Now, I will contact the Void Walkers and directly descend on the eastern wasteland continent where you came from. I will definitely wash the entire eastern wasteland continent in blood and turn it into a river of blood. Wait until you can successfully return to the eastern wasteland continent." Xing Hui laughed coldly and quickly disappeared into the horizon. However, although he spoke casually, his heart was filled with solemnity. It was not empty words to let a powerful person like Dharma King Aoshu descend on the eastern wasteland continent and wash it with blood. However, he did not have the power to stop Dharma King Aoshu. The only thing he could do now was to delay and think of ways to delay the speed of Dharma King Aoshu's journey to the eastern wasteland continent or the Hidden Sword continent. The Hidden Sword continent is a little better. They possess powerful defensive capabilities, especially the sword array on the Burial Sword Peak. If I control it, killing Dharma King Eccentric would not be a difficult task. The key is the Eastern Wastelands. What I can do now is to find that Voidwalker and get him to use his incarnation technique before he does. That way, I can at least buy a month. As long as I can buy a month, whether I repair the Morning Heaven Realm or buy the Great Sun Core, I will be able to smoothly turn the situation around and resolve this stalemate. Xing Hui thought to himself as all sorts of information about the Voidwalkers flashed through his mind. Back in the day, he had helped the Milky Way Commerce to become a Voidwalker. In order to figure out how much he was paid, he naturally had some understanding of the people in the circle of Voidwalkers. There were not many Voidwalkers in the first place, and there were even fewer high-level Voidwalkers who could possess a Tier 10 personal space. After a series of thoughts flashed through his mind, he directly activated the deduction spell and began to deduce who the Voidwalker that Dharma King Axu had befriended was. As the information of the Voidwalkers flashed through his mind one by one, Xing Hui quickly locked onto two people. Voidwalker Ming Ke of the Vientiane Commerce Chamber of Commerce and Ensure of the Annihilation Sect, Xing Hui had some cooperation with the Vientiane Commerce Chamber of Commerce and also had some transactions with the Annihilation Sect. After pondering for a moment, he took the initiative to contact Xing Fu of the Vientiane Commerce Chamber of Commerce. "Your Excellency Pak Hui, do you have some kind of treasure that you need to sell? It's definitely the right choice to come to our Vientiane Commerce Chamber of Commerce. President Xing Fu, I'm contacting President Xing this time because I want to discuss a deal with Your Excellency Ming Quebec. I wonder if President Xing can give me an introduction." Venerable Ming Ke. Xing Fu was a little surprised. After a while, he said, "I'll let Ming Ke know, but I still have to make it clear to Your Excellency Pak Hui first. Venerable Ming Ke is a respected Voidwalker of our Chamber of Commerce, and I can't order him around. Please forgive me, Your Excellency Pak Hui." "I understand." Xing Hui nodded. Xing Fu responded and quickly went to contact Ming Quebec. After a while, Xing Fu received a response and said regretfully, "I'm sorry, Your Excellency Pak Hui. Venerable Ming Ke just sent something to the neighboring continents 4 days ago. He has to rest for a few dozen days before accepting another mission. Therefore, I'm afraid we won't be able to help." Rest for a few dozen days, Xing Hui had a faint smile on his face. He did not look disappointed. Venerable Ming Ke's matter was resolved. "Thank you, President Xing Fu." Xing Hui thanked him. "I'm sorry that I couldn't help, Your Excellency Pak Hui. I hope we can cooperate in other areas in the future." "Of course." Xing Hui replied and quickly headed toward the Annihilation Sect's encampment in the Chaos Temple. He cultivated the world-burning technique of the Annihilation Sect, and he had to give his cultivation experience to the Annihilation Sect for every realm. He had only given his cultivation experience to the True Energy Realm and the Transformative Realm. Due to time constraints, he did not give his cultivation experience to the Eternal Realm and the Golden Elixir Realm. Whoosh! As Xing Hui's figure shuttled through the air, he arrived at the entrance of a large temple built on the crater of a volcano. However, What surprised Xing Hui the most about the Annihilation sect was not the numerous volcanic craters in this personal space, but the 3 blazing suns in the sky. Individually, these 3 suns were not as powerful as the one in the sky. However, when the 3 suns were connected together and used a special method to form a unique scorching sun domain, it allowed any fire attribute cultivator to achieve twice the results with half the effort. Relying on this holy land for cultivation, the Annihilation sect had nurtured countless top experts. In the entire Tianhuang region, the Annihilation sect is the most likely to have a great sun core. I wonder if I can purchase a great sun core from the Annihilation sect, Xing Hui muttered to himself. He had a vague guess. If he was truly willing to share the theories related to fission and fusion with the Annihilation sect, then with this cultivation experience that could push the Burning World art to a higher level, it would not be a problem for him to exchange for a sun core from the Annihilation sect. The difference was, he could not bear to part with it. Forget it. Although the fission and fusion experiences are hard to come by, the most important thing now is to resolve the crisis before me as soon as possible and resist the revenge of the arcane sect's Dharma King Aksu. If I can't resist the revenge of Dharma King Aksu, what's the use even if I bring this experience and knowledge to the grave? At this thought, he was already heading toward the reception area in front of the plaza. Sir, may I know why you've come to the Annihilation sect? A disciple at the reception area noticed Xing Hui's extraordinary appearance and asked respectfully. I'm a cultivator of the world-burning technique and currently have a new understanding of it. If this technique is perfected, it will definitely increase the power of the world-burning technique many times over. It might even make the world-burning technique reach the level of a supreme scripture. Therefore, I want to make a deal with the higher-ups of the Annihilation sect who can make the decision. A new understanding of the world-burning technique? If it's perfected, it can reach the level of a supreme scripture. The disciple in charge of the reception held his breath. He naturally knew how important it would be to the entire Annihilation sect if the world-burning technique could become a supreme scripture. He hurriedly said, Sir, please wait for a moment. I'll immediately inform the higher-ups of the Annihilation sect. Xing Hui nodded. He did not have to wait for long. Soon, a voice mixed with the power to split open the void descended. So it's my young friend Pak Hui. Please step onto this void bridge and come to my courtyard for a chat. Xing Hui stepped onto the void bridge. The space around him immediately changed rapidly. As the environment shuttled and distorted, he appeared in a hovering palace less than 100 meters from the crater of a volcano in the blink of an eye. 100 meters below him was the churning and surging magma of the crater. A middle-aged woman who looked to be in her 30s and 2 elders were already waiting in the palace. Sect Master Nanli, Xing Hui bowed slightly to the woman in the lead. Annihilation Sect Master Nanli also nodded slightly and introduced, these 2 are our Annihilation Sect's Elder Yu Yi and Elder Jinyang. These 2 elders have a deep understanding of the world-burning technique. If Sir Pak Hui has any new understanding of the world-burning technique, please tell the 2 elders. The 2 elders will definitely be able to judge its value. Sir Pak Hui will also receive the gratitude of our Annihilation sect. Of course. Xing Hui turned to Elder Yu Yi and Elder Jinyang and said directly, the ultimate derivation of any ability related to the fire attribute is the 4 great origin flames. They are the Grand Sun True Fire, Nanming Li Fire, Red Lotus Fire, and Xianming Ghost Fire. Among these 4 flames, the Grand Sun True Fire is the strongest in terms of power and dominance. The world-burning technique is no exception. I cultivate the world-burning technique with the help of the core of the Grand Sun in the sky. I observe the changes of the Grand Sun and the wonders of the Golden Crow in the core of the sun day and night. I can vaguely sense the true essence of the operation of the sun. Based on this essence and a sword technique that Sword Master Bai Heng taught me, I finally cultivated the 3rd level of the world-burning technique in a completely different way. Sword Master Bai Heng. When Nanli heard Xing Hui mention this name, she was slightly surprised. I didn't expect Lady Pak Hui to know Sword Master Bai Heng other than being related to esteemed Zhu Zhao. You really have a wide circle of friends. Just like how the sky was held up by esteemed Zhu Zhao alone, the Rainbow Sword sect relied on Sword Master Bai Heng to hold up the main part of the sky. Although her strength was weaker than esteemed Zhu Zhao and she was not listed as one of the top 10 strongest, she was very young. In addition, her strength was second only to the top 10 strongest, so her reputation was not inferior to that of esteemed Zhu Zhao. Many times, the name of Sword Master Bai Heng was more useful than esteemed Zhu Zhao's name. Sect Master Nan Li is too kind. This is my idea for the third level of the world burning technique, and I have already put it into action. After Tsing Hui finished speaking, he directly condensed a piece of information into a jade talisman and handed it to Sect Master Nan Li. Sect Master Nan Li glanced at the jade talisman. In just a moment, she saw the mystery in it. Her expression immediately became serious. Elders, please take a look. All right. Elder Yu Yi and Elder Zhen Yang could not wait to take the jade talisman. After probing it with their minds and carefully studying it, their faces immediately revealed a look of surprise. This idea, fission, fusion. The endless energy in the people's bodies actually comes from this. The two elders' gazes were immediately attracted by Tsing Hui's jade talisman, and they began to carefully study it. However, they had only studied it for a moment when they were shocked to find that there was nothing else. Where's the rest? Where's the rest? Where's the information about fusion? Zhen Yang could not wait to ask. Elders, please don't be impatient. Tsing Hui had a faint smile on his face. Elders, why don't you go and verify the validity of my theory first? When the time comes, we can discuss the transaction. Chapter 578. Elder Zhen Yang and Elder Yu Yi were extremely efficient. They had done a lot of research on the world-burning art. Now that they had obtained Tsing Hui's train of thought, they verified it for less than 2 hours before returning. How is it? Sect Master Nan Li asked. She had also seen Tsing Hui's new understanding of the world-burning art. If what he said was true, the power of the world-burning art would definitely increase by a large margin, reaching a level that was not inferior to a supreme divine power. At that time, the Annihilation Sect's Endless Realm experts would be twice as strong as ordinary Endless Realm experts. Not to mention the Golden Core Realm and the Divine Power Realm that had yet to be derived. Very good. The increase in power is beyond my imagination. However, the drawbacks are also very obvious. Unless one polishes their true chi to the extreme and controls it to the extreme, the slightest carelessness will cause one's true chi to go out of control and explode into nothing. Under normal circumstances, this is indeed the case. Tsing Hui said, however, everyone, don't forget that after the Endless Realm is the Golden Core Realm. What is the Golden Core Realm the most? Time. 3 to 4 times the lifespan of the Endless Realm and Transformative Realm experts, allowing them sufficient time to polish their true chi and increase their control over it. Furthermore, I can assure you that if you really condense your Golden Core using this method, the first attack of the Golden Core Realm will be 3 times stronger than an ordinary Golden Core Realm expert. If you can have a formation, even if it's an ordinary formation that can only increase the effect by 30 to 50%, it can allow 10 Golden Core Realm experts to work together to launch an attack that is not inferior to a divine power. With the help of a formation, 10 Golden Core Realm experts can launch an attack that is not inferior to a divine power attack. This prospect immediately made Nan Li's eyes light up. It should be known that in the cultivation world, only one almighty in 300 to 400 Golden Elixir Realm cultivators would be able to cultivate remarkable powers. Even though the Annihilation Sect was a top-notch sect, and the probability of a Golden Elixir Realm cultivator breaking through to the Almighty Realm was relatively high, only 1 in 200 Golden Elixir Realm cultivators would be able to break through. In the entire Annihilation Sect, there were 4,000 Golden Elixir Realm elders. Usually, these 4,000 elders could rely on battle formations to fend off dozens of almighties. If they were to defend the mountain gate, they would be able to keep out almost 100 almighties. However, all of this could only be done under the favorable conditions of the right time, place, and people. If they went out on an expedition, 10 almighty beings would only need 10 days to half a month to completely defeat 4,000 Golden Core Realm cultivators. According to what Xing Hui had said, once the Annihilation sect finished cultivating this improved version of the world-burning art, the 10 golden core cultivators would be able to unleash the power of their golden cores with the help of the formation to unleash the power of their golden cores. Doesn't that mean that the first wave of attacks from our 4,000 golden core realm elders is practically equivalent to the joint attack of 400 great figures? 400 almighty beings. Even a peerless divine realm cultivator would be torn apart in an instant, let alone a lawful embodiment of heaven and earth. After all, in the presence of battle formations, even a saint stage powerhouse would die if they were caught in a battle formation formed by 100 almighties, let alone 400 almighties. When she thought of this, Nan Li's breathing gradually quickened. Even though it was somewhat unrealistic to ask everyone in the Annihilation sect to cultivate the world-burning art, as long as a quarter of them cultivated the brand new version of the world-burning art, it would be equivalent to the Annihilation sect gaining an additional force that could threaten a divine realm powerhouse. This force would also become the Annihilation sect's greatest trump card. How do you want to trade? Sect Master Nan Li asked in a low voice. Your Excellency Pak Hui, please state your price wisely. Don't forget that according to the agreement, you should unconditionally provide your cultivation experience to us. It's true that I need to provide you with my cultivation experience for the world-burning art, but the cultivation method that I created based on the world-burning art has already gradually broken away from the world-burning art. It's a completely new method that surpasses the original and is not within the scope of our agreement. Xing Hui said with a smile, as for what I need, I believe that the Annihilation sect will definitely be able to provide it. I want a sun core. A sun core. Nan Li's expression changed slightly. Your Excellency Pak Hui, don't you think this price is too high? Sect Master Nan Li, please let me finish. The sun core that I want is not the one that you've ignited. It's fine as long as it's the sun core. As for the price being too high, I don't think that the cultivation experience that can turn an ordinary divine scripture into a supreme divine scripture is worth less than this price. It's not the ignited sun core, Sect Master Nan Li muttered to herself as if she was considering the gains and losses. After a while, she slowly said, I can agree to your request. However, if there's any problem in cultivating the world-burning art, you'll need to guide me from the side. Sure. As long as your disciples, deacons, and elders who cultivate the world-burning art meet the standards of cultivating the world-burning art, I'll definitely teach a few people who can cultivate the world-burning art. Xing Hui said, however, due to some special reasons, I'm afraid I'll have to trouble Supremacy Ensure of the Annihilation sect to make a trip personally. Supremacy Ensure. Sect Master Nan Li naturally had more than one Void Walker. However, since Xing Hui had mentioned Supremacy Ensure and said that there was a special reason, she nodded. I'll let him go. These are my coordinates. Please hurry. Supremacy Ensure will be there in 2 hours. Then I'll be waiting for Supremacy Ensure. Xing Hui bowed slightly and left. After Xing Hui left, Elder Yu Yi stepped forward and said in a deep voice, Sect Master, are we really going to give the Great Sun Core to him? We haven't ignited that sun core yet, but we've poured more than 100 Dao powers into it. Its price can't be compared to the ordinary sun cores. I think, why don't we ask Ensure to take our people there, and then... At this point, a cold glint flashed in Yu Ye's eyes. He waved his hand and made a gesture to silence them. Nan Li pondered for a while and finally shook her head. The implications are too great. Not only does Pak Hui know Sword Master Bai Heng, but he's also a direct disciple of Reverend Zhu Zhao. Even his world-burning art was purchased from our Annihilation sect through Reverend Zhu Zhao's connections. If we kill him, we'll definitely infuriate Reverend Zhu Zhao. Even if Reverend Zhu Zhao is severely injured and can't do anything to us for the time being, the revenge from Sky Dome can't be underestimated. At that time, the price we'll have to pay will be far more than just the Great Sun Core. Of course, the most important thing is that we might not be able to capture him alive and force him to reveal his cultivation experience of the world-burning art. Why? Why do you think Sky Dome would place a cultivator who hasn't reached the Almighty Realm at the top of the ladder in the War of Chaos? Yu Yi pondered for a moment and immediately understood. His chaotic level. That's right, the primal chaos level. Baisu's primal chaos level isn't as simple as we think. Once he reaches the 30th level, he'll be able to use a teleportation art. It won't be easy for the Annihilation sect to capture him alive. If we offend him, we won't be able to get anything out of it. That'll be too late for regrets. Although Yi wasn't willing to give away the Great Sun core for nothing, he could only nod his head in the end. Capturing him alive was different from killing him. It was too difficult to capture a cultivator who used the teleportation art alive. Unless they had the means to directly injure the target on the spiritual level so that he wouldn't be able to use the teleportation art in time, otherwise, there was no other way. On the other hand, the cultivation method of the world blaze that Qing Su had modified had an extremely high requirement for one's mental strength. Coupled with his cultivation at the Golden Core realm, a conservative estimate would place his mental strength at the 110th level at the very least. Probably even the first Dao sovereign of the heavenly Dao would not be able to crush such an expert in terms of mental strength. It's just a loss of more than 400 Daoist rhythms. If 400 Daoist rhythms can be exchanged for the battle strength of an invincible Saint Realm expert, it's worth it. Especially now that the entire Infinite region is in a precarious situation and a great war is about to break out. Any powerful expert's battle strength becomes crucial and we shouldn't be careless. Yu Yi and Jin Yang elders nodded their heads. I'll go and inform Sage Ensure. Elders, prepare the information and select a suitable cultivator for the Blazing World incantation. We have to put this modified version of the Blazing World incantation to use as soon as possible. As Nanli spoke, her figure flashed and disappeared without a trace. Meteorite Iron Continent. Xing Hui flew at full speed for nearly 2 hours and was far away from the Truth Mountain. When he estimated that it was about time, he hovered above a dense forest and waited for Sage Ensure's arrival. A moment later, the heaven and earth yuan qi condensed and formed a vortex with a diameter of more than 1,000 meters. Not long after, a middle-aged man who looked to be in his 40s emerged from the vortex. It was Void Walker Ensure of the Annihilation sect. Greetings, Sage Ensure. Xing Hui bowed slightly. Although Sage Ensure was an almighty, he knew that Xing Hui was the personal disciple of Sage Zhu Zhao, so he didn't dare to slight him. Your Excellency Pak Hui, this is our trade item. As he spoke, he took out a treasure box. As the treasure box was opened, a blazing and violent energy torrent suddenly soared into the sky, turning into a dazzling light that illuminated the void. It was as if Supremacy Ensure was holding a scorching sun. The core of the Great Sun, seeing the core of the Great Sun in the treasure box, Xing Hui's eyes lit up with joy. With the core of the Great Sun in hand, there was hope for the Scarlet Sun Demon God to be activated. This is the cultivation experience of the Endless Realm and the Golden Core realm of the Burning World technique that I have revised based on my own understanding. Xing Hui handed over a jade talisman that recorded a lot of information. Soon, the two exchanged the money and the goods. They represented the Sky Dome realm and the Annihilation sect respectively. They were both well-known top forces in the Heaven Wasteland domain and were not afraid of any tricks in this trade. If this recultivated Burning World technique really has the effect that Your Excellency Pak Hui said, I have to thank Your Excellency Pak Hui. Sage Ensure, you're too polite. Xing Hui pretended to ask casually, this is the Meteorite Iron Continent. I wonder if Sage Ensure knows Dharma King Achu of the Arcane Art Sect of the Meteorite Iron Continent. Dharma King Achu of the Arcane Art Sect. Sage Ensure was taken aback for a moment before he smiled and said, I do know this person. Back then, he and I had a few trades and we got to know each other. Does Your Excellency Pak Hui want to see him for a trade? If so, I'll ask him to come over and pay a visit to Your Excellency Pak Hui. I believe Achu will give you this face. Sage Ensure was both a Voidwalker and a core member of the Annihilation sect. Thus, his attitude towards Dharma King Achu was clearly superior, as if he was ordering a subordinate around. Chapter 579. That's not it. I'm just asking. Xing Hui replied with a smile. He had only asked Honorable Ensure to make sure that nothing would go wrong. In fact, he guessed that the Void Walker that disciplined King Su knew was honorable and sure. This time, he had taken drastic measures to deal with disciplined King Su. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave first. In the future, if the disciples of the Annihilation sect who cultivate the Burning World technique have anything they don't understand, I'll have to ask Madame Pak Hui to guide them. Of course. Honorable and sure nodded. Then, his incarnation dissipated, forming a primordial chi storm that spread in all directions. Very good. As far as I know, Enshure's incarnation technique has not reached level 5. In the next period of time, I don't have to worry about disciplined King Su borrowing the power of the Void Walkers to go to the Eastern Wilderness World or the Hidden Sword Continent. However, if I want to solve this problem once and for all, I have to work on the Scarlet Sun Demon God. Sing Hui thought. With a wave of his hand, the Scarlet Sun Demon God's 3-meter-tall body appeared in front of him. The Scarlet Sun Demon God was 3 meters tall. There was a ring of sword wings that looked like the sun on its back. The sword wings were made up of 108 3-meter-long Scarlet Sun swords. As there was no energy source, these thin swords did not have any red light flowing on them. Otherwise, once they were activated, these thin Scarlet Sun Demon God would shoot out streaks of red sword chi, looking like the radiance of a red sun. Hence, it was called the Scarlet Sun Demon God. Apart from that, the Demon God was constructed from a special type of metal. It was completely scarlet red. This metal was very good at guiding true essence and true chi. If it fused with the power source of the Scarlet Sun Demon God, it would have an astonishing amplification effect. If cultivators wore it as armor, they would be able to receive the amplification of the Scarlet Sun Demon God's power. As for the degree of amplification, it was related to the cultivation method, fighting style, and form. Then, let me see how powerful you are, big guy. Sing Hui said. According to the information about Scarlet Sun Demon God that he had read, he quickly installed the core of the sun that was radiating red light into the position of Scarlet Sun Demon God's heart, which was like a reactor. With the core of the sun as the source of power, the entire Scarlet Sun Demon God shook slightly. The many divine runes on its body shone with crimson light at the same time. These lights wove together and formed a layer of protective aura, which had an astonishing resistance to attacks. In addition, the 108 slender divine swords on its back also stretched out slightly. The sword light swallowed and spat out, causing the divine swords that were originally less than 3 meters long to grow to nearly 4 meters long. As for the scarlet sword light that was emitted, it was more than 10 meters long. It was truly like a scarlet sun, radiating light in all directions. Sing Hui channeled his sword intent into the Scarlet Sun Demon God. Immediately, the Scarlet Sun Demon God stretched out slightly like a mecha, revealing the space inside. The space was just large enough for one person to sit on. Sing Hui went forward and the Scarlet Sun Demon God's armor quickly enveloped him. As his inner yuan circulated, the inner yuan on his body and the materials used to refine the Scarlet Sun Demon God completed a perfect guidance. The entire Scarlet Sun Demon God seemed to have become a layer of aura around him, or like he had put on a 3-meter-tall aura armor. He did not feel any discomfort at all. As expected of the greatest product of the Scarlet Sun cult back then. It's actually so amazing. Sing Hui's consciousness extended to the control core of the Scarlet Sun Demon God. Immediately, countless pieces of information flashed through his mind. He quickly understood the various functions of the Scarlet Sun Demon God. As the information flowed, it constantly updated the relevant data of the Scarlet Sun Demon God. For example, the amount of energy contained, the degree of damage, the degree of activation, and so on. This was the support system of the Scarlet Sun Demon God. If not for the fact that the operation of the Scarlet Sun Demon God was done directly through consciousness and not through a virtual screen, he would have thought that he was piloting a mecha from the future. Next, let me try the power of the Scarlet Sun Demon God. Sing Hui was a little curious. Then, he clenched his fist and punched out. The moment he punched out, his consciousness also triggered the power source, which was the energy in the core of the Scarlet Sun Demon God. This energy seemed to have turned into a giant flame pillar under the transformation of the Scarlet Sun Demon God's body. As Tsing Hui's punch shot out, the ground within a dozen kilometers in front of him was burned to ashes in an instant. The solid ground was even turned into glass. This is the Scarlet Sun primordial fire that has been condensed to the extreme and turned into a flame pillar. Tsing Hui was shocked. However, when he recalled that the Scarlet Sun Demon God was created to fight against astronomical phenomenon and Earth-level experts, he quickly calmed down. Buzz buzz. With the rotation of the sword will, the sword wings formed by the 108 thin swords on the back of the Scarlet Sun Demon God quickly spread out. The vast energy in the power source was continuously injected into the thin swords, causing the long and slender divine swords to circulate with red light like bright light bulbs. Sword out. Swoosh. Red light pierced through the air. Under the guidance of the sword will, the 108 Scarlet Sun swords shot into the void at the same time. It was as if a scorching sun that had been condensed and would not dissipate had suddenly bloomed, erupting with a dazzling light that was so strong that it was hard to open one's eyes. It whistled and shot in all directions, killing all living things within the range of the sword tips. These Scarlet Sun swords have such a low burden on the mind. Furthermore, the energy they use is from the power source, so it doesn't consume much of my energy. It completely makes up for the shortcoming of my lack of energy due to the fusion of my golden core into the Scarlet Abyss sword. Once the sword formation is unleashed, it's almost equivalent to a celestial phenomenon of Earth-level expert continuously launching attacks. Every Scarlet Sun sword, when fully activated, has the power of a small divine ability. 108 small divine abilities are continuously bombarding me. Tsing Hui could not help but suck in a breath of cold air just by thinking about it. Savage. Truly savage. No wonder the Scarlet Sun Demon God was named after the Scarlet Sun. Its most powerful killing technique was these 108 Scarlet Sun swords. Furthermore, if he used this Scarlet Sun Demon God to deal with those never-ending realm and golden core realm experts, a meat grinder. That was simply an invincible meat grinder. If he had this Scarlet Sun Demon God in his hands, Tsing Hui would have even dared to face more than 400 golden core realm experts from the arcane art sect alone. After understanding the Scarlet Sun Demon God's attacking power, Tsing Hui once again wielded the Sky Splitter to test the Scarlet Sun Demon God's defensive power. In the end, he realized that the Scarlet Sun Demon God's defensive power was extremely shocking. It could even be said to be terrifying. Even if Tsing Hui used all his energy to stab the Scarlet Sun Demon God with the 12th grade flying sword, he could not do anything to the Scarlet Sun Demon God's outer layer of energy defense. At most, it would dim the light in that area slightly. With the replenishment of energy from the power source, that dim area would quickly recover. Tsing Hui estimated that the Scarlet Sun Demon God would be able to withstand even ordinary remarkable powers as long as it was not hit consecutively. If the Scarlet Sun Demon God had enough time to replenish the outer layer of energy from the power source, it would not be a problem for it to withstand dozens of remarkable powers. In other words, as long as the frequency was not too high, an ordinary almighty would not be able to do anything to the Scarlet Sun Demon God even if he exhausted all his energy. I wonder if it can be used together with the deep scarlet sword. Tsing Hui thought. In the next moment, the deep scarlet sword appeared in his hand. At the same time, it extended from the Scarlet Sun Demon God's arm. It's actually not affected. Tsing Hui's figure moved and the deep scarlet sword in his hand was already brandished. As the deep scarlet sword slashed out, the golden core condensed from the golden crow divine soul in the deep scarlet sword and the core of the Scarlet Sun Demon God's power source seemed to reflect each other's brilliance. This caused the power of the sword to increase by almost 2 times. It had already surpassed the category of minor remarkable powers and was approaching the level of remarkable powers. As the sword struck out, heaven and earth split apart. A huge fissure that looked like a canyon quickly formed in front of him. Countless trees and rocks were turned into dust by the blazing sword light that contained a terrifying temperature. The area of effect was more than 10 kilometers. 2 times. This is already close to the level of lawful embodiment of heaven and earth. Tsing Hui's eyes flashed. The attack and defense of lawful embodiment of heaven and earth experts would be strengthened by the laws of heaven and earth. This would cause their attack and defense to increase by 3 to 5 times. Some talented people could even increase their battle strength by 6 or even 7 times. 10,000 years ago, during the Divine Wilderness era, there were even people who managed to increase the amplification of lawful embodiment of heaven and earth to 8 times. Although Tsing Hui's amplification was still far from 8 times, 2 times of amplification was already close to the standard of lawful embodiment of heaven and earth. If he slashed out with the great sun demon god's amplification, the power of the blazing sun sword would be so strong that it could even be considered as one of the best remarkable powers. With this scarlet sun demon god, my strength is probably enough to fight against a lawful embodiment of heaven and earth expert. The only drawback is its speed. Tsing Hui controlled the scarlet sun demon god and soared into the sky. After a round, he finally landed back down. Its speed was slower than when he was controlling a 12th order flying sword. It was probably comparable to a 10th order flying sword. And this speed was only equivalent to the level of a weaker Almighty. After sensing the remaining energy in the core of the great sun, his face darkened slightly. There's still energy consumption. This scarlet sun demon god was really burning money. After testing the battle prowess of the scarlet sun demon god, Tsing Hui extricated himself from the scarlet sun demon god. He then passed the control of the Scarlet Sun Demon God to the weapon spirit of the Scarlet Sun Demon God, which was the subsidiary system that had previously assisted him in understanding the various resources and data of the Scarlet Sun Demon God. Under the control of the weapon spirit, the Scarlet Sun Demon God's attack and defense could still be said to be powerful. However, as he had guessed, its logic and agility were greatly reduced. In terms of attack, it was also greatly reduced compared to Tsing Hui's control. If I only let the weapon spirit control the Scarlet Sun Demon God, its battle prowess would be equivalent to the pinnacle of the Transcendent Realm. Moreover, it would only be the pinnacle of the Transcendent Realm in terms of battle prowess. Once the Almighty takes advantage of the Scarlet Sun Demon God's lack of logic and agility to set up a trap, the Scarlet Sun Demon God would be completely destroyed. After experimenting for a day, Tsing Hui finally understood the various mysteries of the Scarlet Sun Demon God. Although its battle prowess was clearly slightly weaker than a lawful embodiment of heaven and earth expert, its battle prowess could be said to be indisputable. In that case, let me wait for the people from the Profound Art sect to come knocking on my door for revenge. I'd like to know exactly what method that Profound Art sect's Dharma King ACU will use to chase me to the ends of the earth and kill me. Chapter 580. The arcane sect's current situation was definitely not as easy as Tsing Hui had imagined. After losing Luo Miao and Zhu Jian, the arcane sect's vitality had been greatly damaged. Once this news spread, the divine refining sect that had been fighting with the arcane sect for decades would definitely not mind taking advantage of this opportunity to add insult to injury. At that time, facing the 3 great almighties of the divine refining sect at the same time, even if Dharma King Aksu was known as the second strongest person on the meteorite continent, it would still be difficult to prevent the arcane sect from being destroyed. Therefore, what he was doing now was to completely disregard the future of the arcane sect. When he learned that the Voidwalker Ensure was temporarily unable to use the incarnation technique, he decisively led many gold core, endless, transformative, and true energy realm experts of the arcane sect and began an expedition to the Hidden Sword continent that was tens of millions of kilometers away from the meteorite continent. The Hidden Sword continent was on the route to the Eastern Wilderness. Since they wanted to force Tsing Hui out, destroying the Hidden Sword continent while destroying the Eastern Wilderness was naturally the best choice. This result naturally caused an uproar among the other great sects on the meteorite continent. They were completely clueless as to why the arcane art cult was so determined to annihilate the Green Ruins, even going as far as to suppress the entire arcane art cult. However, they naturally did not stop the arcane sect from doing this. Instead, they were happy to see it happen. When the arcane sect withdrew their core forces and advanced towards the Hidden Sword continent, many sects that bordered the arcane sect secretly devoured the territories that belonged to the arcane sect. Although they did not devour much as they were afraid that Dharma King Aksu and the others would return, they could not stop several sects from attacking at the same time. As a result, the arcane sect lost nearly 1/3 of their territory in just a few days. Damn it! On a speed-type warship, Dharma King Aksu listened to Sect Master Ao Xian's report and fiercely slammed the table. His eyes were filled with anger. Ancient Shrine, Divine Refining Sect, Star Jade Sect, Sacred Evolution Dynasty. Even a small azure wave mansion dares to interfere. How bold! Sect Master Ao Xian's eyes carried a trace of sorrow. Currently, the arcane art cult had really been forced to the point of no return. This was something that the arcane art cult had never encountered in the past hundreds of years. In the past, on the meteorite iron continent, other than the ancient shrine that had the bright flame divine king, which other force had dared to be rampant in front of them? Even the divine refining sect that had always been at odds with them had been suppressed by them most of the time. Now, they were being chased like stray dogs and had no choice but to stake everything on a single throw. This was unprecedented. At this moment, he even felt a faint regret in his heart. If the arcane arts sect had not refined the Scarlet Sun demonic god, perhaps they would not have attracted such a huge trouble. Dharmaraja, 2 people suddenly boarded our warship. They said they were invited by the Lord. Dharma King Aksu's expression darkened slightly. Only 2. While speaking, he still walked towards the reception hall. Sect Master Ao Xian hurriedly followed. When they came to the parlor and saw the 2 people standing there, Ao Xian couldn't help but exclaim, "Saint Golden Feather, Saint Light Reflection." After exclaiming, he hurriedly waved his hand, indicating for the Golden Core Realm elders around to be fully alert. However, before he could give the order, Dharma King Aksu had already waved his hand. "All right, I invited them here. The 2 saint sages are my guests." Dharmaraja. Ao Xian was somewhat unable to understand. It should be known that apart from the 7 major sects, there were also these 2 almighties from outside the meteorite continent who had designs on their arcane art sect. Logically speaking, these 2 people should be the arcane art sect's enemies. That kid has countless treasures on him. Perhaps I can kill him, but to capture him alive is a fool's dream. Therefore, I have no choice but to borrow the strength of others. As Dharma King Aksu spoke, his gaze turned to Saint Golden Feather and Saint Light Reflection. "I hired them for the price of 200 Taoist rhymes. I even promised that the level 15 divine weapon and level 12 flying sword on that kid would belong to them. However, I didn't expect that in the end, I could only get the 2 of them to accept this mission. However, Saint Golden Feather is no weakling. He's especially skilled in the art of killing." Dharma King Aksu. Saint Golden Feather looked at Dharma King Aksu. There was no joy or anger on his face as he said, "According to the rules, please sign the chaos contract with us, Dharma King Aksu. Otherwise, if we can't guarantee our benefits, the 2 of us can only express our helplessness." "Of course." Dharma King Aksu responded. Immediately, the 3 of them entered the Chaos Temple and made the Chaos Oath. After making the oath, Saint Golden Feather and Saint Light Reflection looked much better. Saint Golden Feather, who was the leader, even showed a slight smile on his face as he said, "I've long heard about Dharma King Aksu's Mirage divine ability. It's said that it's the most mysterious and comprehensive divine ability on the meteorite iron continent that combines both attack and defense. Not only can it deflect and distort various divine ability attacks, but it can also transform the void and form a distorted world. In this distorted world, people will not be able to distinguish between east and west. There's no road to heaven and no door to hell, and they can only become helpless lambs at the mercy of others. It seems that I'll have the chance to see it with my own eyes this time. Saint Golden Feather, you flatter me. Although my Mirage divine ability has some tricks, it's still inferior to Saint Golden Feather's pure gold killing skill. Saint Golden Feather is a cultivator with the bloodline of the White Tiger Sacred Beast. The attack divine ability derived from it is unparalleled. It's said that it has already derived the 4th small divine ability. The 4 small divine abilities protect the main divine ability, and the 5 divine abilities are combined. Its power has skyrocketed. If Saint Golden Feather really performs it, I'm afraid it won't be inferior to a great divine ability. A great divine ability is a terrifying existence that transcends divine abilities and can counterattack the lawful embodiment of heaven and earth. Even the weakest great divine ability is 3 times more powerful than an ordinary divine ability. Although the 5 divine abilities can greatly increase the power of my divine ability, on the one hand, it needs time to combine the 5 divine abilities, and stability is still a problem that needs to be solved. Compared to a real great divine ability, there are still many drawbacks. Saint Golden Feather said with some regret. The lawful embodiment of heaven and earth realm was to constantly study the laws of heaven and earth, allowing one's attack to constantly be compatible with the laws of heaven and earth. It could even increase one's attack and defense by 3, 4, 5, and even the limit of 6 times. The strength of unlawful embodiment of heaven and earth realm expert could be judged based on the degree of increase and the time they spent in the lawful embodiment of heaven and earth. In this realm, there was no such thing as the initial stage, middle stage, late stage, or pinnacle stage. Some celestial phenomenon of earth and 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 celestial phenomenon of earth. And compared to the lawful embodiment of heaven and earth, where the difference in strength was clear, the transcendent realm was much more complicated. The divine ability derived from every cultivator could be said to be strange of every description. The probability of 2 cultivators of the same cultivation method producing the same divine ability was less than 1 in 10. Different divine abilities naturally had different strengths and weaknesses. And the cultivation in the divine ability realm was to constantly study one's own divine ability. On one hand, through familiarizing oneself with the divine ability, one could increase the speed of using the divine ability and reduce the energy consumption. On the other hand, one could constantly derive lesser divine abilities. After familiarizing oneself with the lesser divine ability, one could perfect the lesser divine ability and supplement it into the main divine ability, causing the power of the main divine ability to increase. Some ordinary divine abilities that were derived to the pinnacle could even be comparable to great divine abilities. Of course, it was only comparable in power. Such great divine abilities were often very troublesome to use. They either consumed a lot of energy or required a lot of time to prepare. They could not be compared to true great divine abilities. Saint Golden Feather was currently deriving lesser divine abilities, using them to repair the deficiencies of the main divine ability and increase the power of the main divine ability. To be able to derive 4 lesser divine abilities is an extremely impressive ability in itself. Saint Golden Feather, you don't have to be humble. Dharma King Achu said with a faint smile. Then, let's talk about our hunting target. Not to hunt, but to capture alive. Dharma King Achu added, I need to capture this person alive. Capture alive, I understand. Saint Golden Feather nodded slightly. However, according to the information I deliberately investigated when I came here and the ability he displayed in the battle on Mount Truth not long ago, I'm afraid it won't be easy to capture this person alive. That's why I asked the 2 of you to come and help. If it's really just a simple killing, I can do it alone. Dharma King Achu said confidently. Is that so? The most terrifying thing about him is that divine weapon of his. It's at least level 15, right? It might even be level 16. As Saint Golden Feather said this, a trace of greed flashed in his eyes. At the same time, there was a trace of jealousy. It was amazing to have a good background. His master, esteemed Zhu Zhao, actually gave away a level 15 or even level 16 divine weapon to a golden elixir cultivator. It was really a waste of resources. Not only does this person have a suspected level 16 divine weapon, but the quality of his golden elixir is also extremely high. It's very likely that it has reached the level of a peerless golden elixir. In addition, he has mastered an explosive secret technique that can actually break my catoptric deflection. Break your catoptric deflection, Saint Golden Light's expression froze. Isn't that the power of a great divine ability? According to my deduction, this explosive secret technique should be related to that divine weapon of his, and the burden on the divine weapon is extremely great. The number of times it can explode will not exceed 10 times. 10 attacks that are close to the level of an almighty. That's already very shocking. Discipline King Iko Su glanced at Saint Golden Light. I'll naturally be in charge of the head-on confrontation. Saint Golden Feather is in charge of severely injuring him, and Saint Golden Light is in charge of preventing him from escaping. With the three of us, how can we not be able to deal with a golden elixir cultivator who relies on a divine weapon to have amazing combat power? If we don't even have this bit of confidence, I'm afraid the world will laugh at us endlessly. Of course not. Saint Golden Light hurriedly said, "Don't worry, Discipline King Iko Su. Leave the matter of preventing him from escaping to me. That's good. After it's done, Su, will get a share of the 200 Taoist rhymes." In addition, at that time, the 16th level divine weapon and 12th level flying sword will belong to the two of you. Who knows, we might even be able to extort some extraordinary treasures from him. This is definitely a good deal for the two of you. But the price is to completely offend Tianqiong. Saint Golden Feather said indifferently, "If this deal is really a good deal, why are the two of us the only ones willing to accept the Discipline King's invitation in the end?" When Discipline King Iko Su heard Saint Golden Feather mention this, he could not help but look a little embarrassed. However, just as he was about to say something, he seemed to have sensed something, and his expression changed instantly. "How dare you!" The next moment, at the end of the horizon, a blazing sword light that seemed to be able to tear the sky apart brazenly broke through the air. Carrying a vast aura like the falling sun, it slashed the huge warship of the arcane art sect. Rumble. A violent explosion and dazzling flames instantly filled the entire warship. Chapter 581. Xing Hui. From within the blazing flames, a furious roar rang out. Immediately after, 3 golden lights shot up into the sky, carrying a vast and terrifying aura as they soared into the clouds. Beside them, hundreds of figures soared into the void and quickly filled the surroundings, avoiding the aftermath of the explosion caused by the destruction of the battleship. More than 10 kilometers in front of them, Xing Hui, who had unleashed the sunburst sword, stood in the void and looked at the 3 figures who had rushed out of the flames. He was slightly surprised. However, he was only slightly surprised. If it were before, the 3 almighties might have caused him trouble, a headache, or even a sense of helplessness. However, now, Xing Hui turned his gaze and looked at the Gold Core Realm experts who had flown up into the void from the explosion. Even though the might of his sword was enormous and peerlessly swift, under the deliberate control of its lethality, it was unable to cause too much damage to the experts of the Golden Core Realm. As a result, there were actually an entire 230 experts of the Golden Core Realm that had flown up into the sky. Even if only 70% of them were captured alive by him, it would be sufficient for him to perfect the Golden Core Realm and attempt to derive a supreme ability. I think I've seen you before, Holy Sage Guang, who had flown up into the void, sized up Xing Hui for a moment. Soon, she seemed to have thought of something. "You're the Gold Core Realm cultivator who followed us at the auction a few months ago. Mu Xinping and the rest had escaped with my help, but they were all annihilated. Even the Gold Core Realm alchemy puppet that we spent a lot of money to buy is missing. I'm afraid these things have fallen into your hands, right?" Hearing Saint Nguang's words, a cold glint flashed in Saint Jean Yu's eyes. You dare to have ideas about my, Saint Jean Yu's, things. You really have big guts. Looks like no matter what, I can't let you live today. Live? Xing Hui looked at the three almighties in front of him and did not want to waste time talking to them. In the next moment, the Sky Splitter sword's speed exploded. His entire body was like a stream of light that shot toward the Gold Core Realm cultivators. Damn it! Your opponent is us. Seeing that Xing Hui was still going to kill the Golden Core cultivator, Dharma King Yi Su roared angrily. The mirrored flowers, reflected moon above his head appeared again. Streams of light shot towards Xing Hui, forming a space distortion in an attempt to trap him. However, before the catoptric deflection could trap Xing Hui for even a moment, the Sword of Sunlight's radiance had already erupted once again. The resplendent radiance mixed with blazing shockwaves made the void seem as if it had ignited a blazing sun, instantly annihilating all living beings and matter within a radius of several kilometers. And this was because the space here had been distorted by Dharma King Achix's mirror flower, Water Moon. Otherwise, if the power of the Sword of Sunburst truly erupted, it would not be difficult for it to completely ignite the space within a radius of several dozen kilometers and turn it into hell. As expected, this attack was indeed unleashed using that peerless divine weapon. This peerless divine weapon actually has such a profound ability, to allow a Golden Core Realm cultivator to unleash a terrifying attack that is not inferior to a great divine ability. 16th level. This is definitely a 16th level divine weapon. If I can take this divine weapon for myself, won't I be able to move unhindered in the great divine ability realm? Holy Sage Golden Feather's eyes lit up when he saw this. Both of you, what are you waiting for? Dharma King Yi Su shouted. Seeing this, Holy Sage Nguang was about to unleash a divine ability to stop Xing Hui, who was charging towards the Golden Core cultivators of the Arcane Art sect. However, before he could do anything, Holy Sage Golden Feather's voice rang in his ears. Reserve your strength. Holy Sage Nguang was a little confused. Holy Sage, didn't we already come to an agreement with Dharma King Yi Su? Holy Sage Nguang, don't forget that the Arcane Art sect has 3 almighties. Why is it that only Dharma King Yi Su is here now? Where are the other 2 almighties? Moreover, even if we don't count the 2 almighties, just the 200 over Golden Core elders before us, if they cooperate with Dharma King Yi Su, do you think we can stop them? You're saying that Dharma King Yi Su will attack us? That's impossible. We've already made a chaos oath. If he doesn't keep his word, we'll lose 5 chaos levels. This kind of loss isn't something that an ordinary person can bear. What's 5 chaos levels to him? No matter if it's the 12th level flying sword or the 16th level divine weapon on Xing Hui, which one of them isn't worth 5 chaos levels and above? As long as Dharma King Yi Su can take over Xing Hui's 16th level divine weapon and 12th level flying sword, not only will he be able to get back the 5 chaos levels that he lost immediately, the Dao carrying item that he exchanged for will be more than enough to raise his chaos level by another 5 levels. Holy Sage Nguang heard Holy Sage Golden Feather's words and hesitated for a moment. In the end, she didn't say anything. Apart from this, you've also seen the power of the sword light that Xing Hui unleashed with the help of the divine weapon. That's a terrifying attack that's almost at the level of a great magical power. If we're not careful, I'm afraid we'll be in danger of being seriously injured. I've observed carefully. This kind of attack can only be unleashed with the help of the divine weapon. There's a limit to the number of times. Why don't we use the Golden Core Elders of the Arcane Art sect to deplete the power of his divine weapon? We'll just do it as a gesture. Holy Sage Golden Feather said. Holy Sage Nguang nodded. Although they were almighties, the attack of Xing Hui's Sword of Sunlight was still extremely dangerous. If they weren't careful, their lives would be in danger. He, Nguang, was only hired to help Dharma King Yi Su attack Xing Hui. It didn't mean that he would risk his life for Dharma King Yi Su. Why not use the people of the Arcane Art sect to deplete the power of Xing Hui's divine weapon? At that moment, Holy Sage Golden Feather and Holy Sage Ingguang began to symbolically chase after Tsing-Hui. Once Tsing-Hui turned around and seemed to want to deal with the two of them immediately retreated without hesitation. They didn't want to have any substantial confrontation with Tsing-Hui at all. When Dharma King Yi Su saw this scene, he was naturally furious. Holy Sage Golden Feather, Holy Sage Ingguang, what are you doing? Don't forget our agreement. Don't worry, we'll carry out the agreement. We won't let Tsing-Hui get away. That's right, Dharma King Yi Su. You only said that Tsing-Hui's attack with the help of the divine weapon is close to a great divine power, but you didn't say that these attacks are already not inferior to Almighty's. If we knew that his attack was so fierce, I'm afraid we wouldn't have been willing to come over. Therefore, if we really want to attack with our full strength, we'll have to wait until the power of his divine weapon is almost exhausted and his attack falls back to the level of a normal great divine power. Holy Sage Ingguang and Holy Sage Golden Feather responded with a perfunctory attitude. Dharma King Yi Su was shocked and furious. However, he had to rely on the power of Holy Sage Golden Feather and Holy Sage Ingguang to have a chance of capturing Tsing-Hui alive. He could only suppress the anger in his heart and didn't dare to flare up. Instead, he roared at the elders in the Golden Elixir realm, "Quick, form a battle formation, and defend with all your might." Ao Xian's expression was gloomy as he constantly commanded the many Golden Elixir realm experts to defend with all their might. Unfortunately, Tsing-Hui, who was going all out and had the advantage of the Sky Splitter, was not someone a mere Golden Elixir realm cultivator could defend against. He charged forward again and again. Otherwise, several Golden Elixir realm cultivators would be captured alive. Even if they formed a large-scale battle formation with dozens or close to 100 people, he could still rely on the advantage of the speed of the Sky Splitter to easily kill his way into it, shuttling back and forth. In just a short moment, the elders in the Golden Elixir realm on the Arcane Sect's side had already collapsed. Is the Arcane Sect really going to be finished? How can we defend against this? Our opponent's speed is so fast that we have no time to chase after him. Once he draws his sword, someone from our side will definitely die. This isn't a battle, this is waiting for death. Although I've relied on the help of the Arcane Sect to achieve what I have today, I've worked hard for the Arcane Sect all these years and have long repaid all the favors I owe them. Today, I'll no longer risk my life for anyone, I'll only live for myself. I've cultivated to the Golden Elixir realm for less than 10 years and can enjoy a lifespan of 3,000 years. I've yet to enjoy the good years ahead of me, how can I die here in vain? Accompanied by waves of exclamations and screams, many of the elders in the Arcane Sect could no longer maintain their previous formation. As 20 to 30 of the remaining 200 Golden Elixir realm elders fled for their lives, a chain reaction was formed in one fell swoop. Not only did it cause the remaining elders to panic, it also caused the great formation that they had painstakingly set up to fail, causing the scene to descend into chaos. Taking advantage of the chaos, Tsing-Hui once again charged forward, severely injuring and capturing the Golden Elixir realm elders alive. By the time he had broken through the obstruction of Dharma King Axe's mirage for the 6th time, the number of Golden Elixir realm elders he had captured alive had already reached 82. Including the Golden Elixir realm experts he had captured the last time, there were a total of 233 people. It could be said that almost half of the Golden Elixir realm elders in the Arcane Sect had been captured alive by him alone. It should be about time to capture those cultivators who have fled further away. Tsing-Hui's gaze fell on the many Golden Elixir realm cultivators who had already fled some distance away, and once again captured 12 of them alive. At this time, the Arcane Sect's formation that had originally reached 230 people had already fallen to less than 100. After all, even if Tsing-Hui had intentionally controlled the power of his sword qi in order to capture as many Golden Elixir realm elders as possible, there were times when he could not control his own power and would still cause these Golden Elixir realm elders to fall. It was just that this ratio was slightly lower than the ratio of capturing them alive. Lord Golden Feather, Lord Reflection, the divine weapon in his hand can no longer unleash attacks that are close to the level of a great remarkable ability. If you don't act now, when are you going to? Dharma King Iko Su watched as the Golden Elixir Realm Elders, who could be considered the backbone of the arcane sect, were killed one after another. His patience towards Lord Golden Feather and Lord Reflection had already reached its limit. Lord Golden Feather and Lord Reflection did not dare to continue going easy on Yu Yang in order to prevent them from gaining nothing or even being punished by the Chaos Oath. They immediately responded, Dharma King Iko Su, use your remarkable ability to trap him. I'll use the Crimson Gold killing technique and severely injure or even kill him in one fell swoop to secure victory. Alright. Dharma King Iko Su did not dare to delay. The remarkable ability of the Crimson Gold killing technique appeared above his head once again. A beam of light shot out from the mirror and landed in the void where Tsing Hui was in an instant, distorting the void where he was. It's about time. The moment Tsing Hui was trapped by Dharma King Iko Su's remarkable ability, his figure also stopped. As he waved his hand, the Crimson Sun Demon God, who carried 108 Crimson Sun swords on his back, had already appeared beside him. Then, it expanded like a living armor, enveloping his body within. Chapter 582. The Scarlet Sun Demon God. The Scarlet Sun Demon God of our arcane spell sect. Seeing that Tsing Hui had taken out the Scarlet Sun Demon God, Discipline King Axe's eyes turned red. How did the Scarlet Sun Demon God appear in Tsing Hui's hands? Oh right, no wonder Dharma King Exu insisted on capturing Qing Su alive. It's actually because of the Scarlet Sun Demon God. The Scarlet Sun Demon God has actually fallen into the hands of this kid, Qing Su, a long time ago. That's exactly why Dharma King Exu wants to take him for himself regardless of the cost. Damn it, Discipline King Axu wants us to fight against the Scarlet Sun Demon God, whose combat power is comparable to an Earth-level celestial phenomenon expert. Lord Golden Feather and Lord Reflection Light were stunned when Tsing Hui took out the Scarlet Sun Demon God. Rumble. Tsing Hui, who had taken out the Scarlet Sun Demon God, did not care about the three powerful figures' reactions. As the deep scarlet sword extended from the right arm of the Scarlet Sun Demon God, he waved his hand and a terrifying and scorching power was drawn out from the Scarlet Sun Demon God's power source and injected into the deep scarlet sword. Coupled with the power of the gold core contained in the deep scarlet sword, the sword tore apart the distortion formed by the catoptric deflection. Blazing flames sputtered in all directions continuously. The power was so strong that it made Lord Golden Feather and Lord Reflection Light's expressions change drastically. Swoosh! Tearing apart the distortion formed by the catoptric deflection, Tsing Hui took a step forward. Although his speed was not fast, it was filled with a heavy and oppressive feeling. Moreover, as he took a step forward, the 108 Scarlet Sun swords behind him extended and charged at the same time. They emitted a dazzling sword light and shot out. The 108 slender Scarlet Sun swords formed a sword blade storm that swept across the sky. In an instant, it enveloped Discipline King Axu and attacked him crazily. Catoptric deflection. Discipline King Axu roared. The round mirror above his head emitted circles of ripples that distorted the surrounding space, causing the space within a radius of a few hundred meters around him to be dislocated. The 108 Scarlet Sun swords that shot into the area would be stopped by an invisible force every time they were about to hit Discipline King Axu. They would be deflected to the side and fall into the air. Some of the Scarlet Sun swords were even controlled by King Axe's divine power to controlled swords' divine power caused the swords to collide with each other and emitted dazzling flames. Swords' radiance overflowed sword light. At first glance, it was King Axu seemed King Axu seemed to be swallowed by the flames. The two of you, attack quickly. King Hui's swords. At this moment, Saint Master Golden Feather and Saint Master Reflection Light no longer hesitated. They gritted their teeth and performed their divine powers. Saint Master Golden Feather's divine power was the Scarlet Gold killing technique. A short knife that looked like the tooth of a white tiger floated in the void, emitting a scarlet light. The divine power had just been created, but the killing and biting cold aura contained in the divine power had already rushed over. This kind of condensed, solid, single-target attack was usually the most terrifying. No wonder Saint Master Golden Feather dared to say that his divine power would fight against a great divine power. Compared to Saint Master Golden Feather, Saint Master Reflection Light's divine power was much inferior. His divine power was similar to an illusion. With the help of the light, he could create dozens of clones of himself. These clones could change and move at will. Moreover, they looked exactly the same as him. Even their spiritual and genuine chi waves were no exception. Hiding the real body in the illusory body was exquisite, but the degree of threat was much inferior to Saint Master Golden Feather's. This kind of divine power, Xing Hui operated his chi-observing skill and looked at Saint Master Reflection Light. Although Saint Master Reflection Light's illusory body was exactly the same as him, no matter how real it was, there would still be differences and fluctuations in the aura. The strength of the aura was the basis of the chi-observing skill's judgment. Therefore, Saint Master Golden Feather's divine power was destroyed by Xing Hui the moment she performed it. As for Saint Master Golden Feather's divine power, Seeing that Xing Hui was rapidly approaching him, Saint Master Golden Feather had no time to perfect the scarlet gold killing technique with his lesser divine power and push it to the great divine power level. With a roar, the dagger-like knife chopped down from the sky. With a biting cold scarlet light, it filled the void and completely filled the space within a radius of several hundred meters around Xing Hui. Every streak of scarlet light could become the attack trajectory of the scarlet gold killing technique. There was no way to defend or dodge. Since there's no way to defend or dodge, then I'll let you defend. Attack where he has to defend. The Scarlet Sun Demon God's huge body surged. The Scarlet Abyss Sword, which looked a little small, shot out a huge sword light that was more than 10 meters long. In the sword light, there was a strong light, as if there was a sun hidden in it. Just the light emitted from the sword light had completely ignited the space around the sword. When the sword really chopped down, the area within a radius of several hundred meters was filled with rolling heat. It was suffocating. Like a roaring fire dragon, it completely covered Saint Master Golden Feather's body. Damn it! Turn! As the fire dragon swept over, Saint Master Golden Feather had to twist his hand. The scarlet gold killing technique, which almost left Xing Hui with no way to dodge, suddenly reversed. Under the trajectory marked by the scarlet light, it chopped down on Xing Hui's huge flaming sword at an incredible speed. Rumble. Flames soared into the sky. For a moment, it was as if a meteor had crashed into the atmosphere. The space within a radius of several thousand meters was ignited at the same time. And at the core of the collision, the burning flames seemed to be suppressed by an invisible giant hand, forming a fiery vacuum. In the center of the fiery vacuum, the dagger formed by the scarlet gold killing technique and the sword light from the scarlet abyss sword froze at the same time. Crack. Finally, the frozen scene lasted for a moment before it was broken by a soft sound. The tip of the dagger formed by the scarlet gold killing technique first had a large number of cracks. Then, the cracks spread to the entire dagger, and in the next moment, it shattered with a bang. On the other hand, the sword light from the Scarlet Abyss sword that had been infused with the Scarlet Sun Demon God's power source, although the light was dim and on the verge of collapse, but it was still able to maintain a 10-meter-long sword body. It seems that your Crimson Gold killing skill is much weaker than I imagined. Since your Crimson Gold killing skill is useless, let me send you on your way. After destroying the Scarlet Gold killing technique, Xing Hui suddenly leaped forward again. The Scarlet Sun Demon God held the terrifying huge sword that was burning with blazing flames, sweeping up the dazzling flames that filled the space within a radius of several hundred meters. He charged straight at Saint Master Golden Feather in front of him. Before he arrived, the suffocating power of the flames had already surged over. He was really like a peerless demon god that had broken out of the sulfur hell. Take my attack. At this moment, Saint Master Ingguang brazenly attacked. Terrifying energy waves spread out from his body and swept over, making him look like a meteor that tore through the sky. His aura was so fierce and vast that no one doubted that if they were hit by his attack, the result would be earth-shattering. However, Faced with such a powerful attack, Xing Hui did not even look at it. He allowed it to crash into his body and turn into a cluster of flowing light. He then took a large step forward and slashed down with the terrifying huge sword that was burning with blazing flames in his hand. Wherever the tip of the sword passed by, the space became distorted due to the high temperature. Saint Master Golden Feather, who was under the sword, had a drastic change in expression. A pair of wings extended from his back and he quickly retreated. Saint Master Golden Feather's gold referred to his unparalleled scarlet gold killing technique. Feather referred to the pair of flowing light wings that were as fast as an 11th level flying sword. It was precisely because of the absolute combination of attack and speed that he was able to make a name for himself in the transcendent realm. He even had a glorious battle record of killing 3 almighties. From these two aspects, his attack method and movement path were similar to Xing Hui's. It was a pity, apart from his defensive methods and variations, his strongest attack and fastest speed were much slower than Xing Hui's. Swish! The moment Saint Master Golden Feather retreated, the Skysplitter Sword's swordlight had already shot out from the Scarlet Sun Demon God. It was so fast that it was almost impossible to see with one's eyes as it viciously slashed at Saint Master Golden Feather's retreating body. Even though Saint Master Golden Feather sensed danger and immediately condensed a stream of scarlet gold light to block the Skysplitter Sword's attack, the kinetic energy within the sword still caused him to tremble and lose his balance. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Xing Hui advanced brazenly. The Scarlet Sun Demon God's 10-meter-long sword slashed down with a boom. Like an undying sun, it completely swallowed Saint Master Golden Feather's body. With a violent boom, a visible wave of heat exploded as a shockwave, reducing all the airflow within 10,000 meters to dust. In the midst of the blazing flames, Golden Feather Holy Sage spat out a mouthful of blood. Like a cannonball, he flew back and crashed into the sea below. The huge force almost flattened the surface of the sea below, and a small tsunami of a dozen meters high was set off in the surrounding dozens of kilometers. Saint Master Golden Feather! Saint Master Nguang exclaimed when she saw Saint Master Golden Feather being slashed into the sea by Xing Hui's sword. She turned into a dozen figures and rushed over. Xing Hui glanced over and instantly caught sight of Saint Master Nguang's body among the dozen figures. Then, he slashed horizontally. The blazing flames were mixed with the power to annihilate an army, and nearly half of the dozen figures were engulfed in it. Bang! Saint Master Nguang's attack fell heavily on the layer of scarlet flowing light on the surface of the Scarlet Sun Demon God's body. Immediately, circles of light burst out from the layer of scarlet flowing light and formed a visible shockwave near the Scarlet Sun Demon God's body. It was so powerful that it could crush any cultivator below the Saint Realm. What a strong defense! Saint Master Nguang's eyes widened. However, before he had time to be shocked, a burst of blazing flames mixed with suffocating heat rolled over. As Saint Master Nguang raised his head, he was shocked to find that the 10-meter-long giant sword was already very close to him. Oh no! Saint Master Nguang retreated quickly, and the aura of the divine technique surged all over his body, causing his speed to soar in an instant. But the next moment, Xing Hui's left hand had already reached him, as if he had already expected his reaction. The huge palm was like a net swatting a fly, and it hit Saint Master Nguang hard. And the direction that hit him was the 10-meter-long giant sword in his right hand. No! With a horrified scream, Holy Senior Nguang's figure collided with the 10-meter-long giant sword that was slashing down. With sparks flying in all directions, Holy Senior Nguang's body was cut in half in the air with a shrill scream. Chapter 583. Sliced at the waist. Holy Saint Reflecting Light was sliced at the waist by the Scarlet Sun Demon God controlled by Xing Hui. Holy Saint Golden Feather, who was about to break out of the water after being slapped into the bottom of the sea, could not help but shiver when he saw this terrifying scene. He felt a bone-piercing chill running through his limbs and toward his heart. It was so cold that he found it difficult to breathe. This is too terrifying. This is too frightening. Is this the power of the Scarlet Sun Demon God? Holy Saint Golden Feather shivered at the bottom of the sea. In the next moment, he dashed toward the bottom of the sea without hesitation. Then, he escaped. You saw through my divine power, Holy Saint Reflecting Light held her breath as she glared at Xing Hui. However, Xing Hui did not reply. He sensed Holy Saint Reflecting Light's consciousness, divine soul power, and body that was emitting terrifying vitality and energy waves. Suddenly, he had an idea and performed a supreme divine power. Flower blooming instantly, a 7-colored flower fell and enveloped Holy Saint Reflecting Light in the blink of an eye. Before her consciousness completely dissipated, it extracted all her essence, qi, and spirit from her body and took it away, forming a bright red fruit of Tao. This fruit of Tao, Xing Hui sensed it carefully for a moment. He could not help but look delighted. Under the divine power, the quality of the fruit of Tao can be improved by a lot. He was overjoyed by this discovery. However, although Holy Saint Reflecting Light was dead and Holy Saint Golden Feather had escaped, there was still Dharma King Eccentric waiting for him to deal with. Moreover, Dharma King Eccentric was the main person he really needed to kill. Otherwise, as long as Dharma King Eccentric was alive, the Hidden Sword Mainland and the Eastern Wilderness Mainland would be under his threat. The Scarlet Sun Demon God was created by the Arcane Art Sect. It's a worthy death for you to die under the sword of the Scarlet Sun Demon God. Xing Hui spun and pounced towards Dharma King Yi Su swiftly. Right now, Akaraja Aksu was using his water mirror's image to constantly control the 108 Scarlet Sun swords around him, causing them to clash constantly. Many of the Scarlet Sun swords had already been damaged. In such a short period of time, 26 of the 108 Scarlet Sun swords had already lost their intelligence and energy, falling to the ground. It would probably take time and energy to nourish them again. Among the remaining 82 Crimson Sun swords, many of them had dimmed. Their speed and lethality had been greatly reduced, and it would not be long before they were all destroyed by Dharma King Eccentric. From this point of view, Discipline King Iko Su was indeed worthy of being the second strongest expert of the Meteorite Iron Continent. If Discipline King Iko Su were to fight against the Scarlet Sun Demon God who was not under anyone's control, the final outcome would still be unknown. Discipline King Eccentric had already sensed the abnormality when Xing Hui was charging towards him. His gaze immediately turned towards Saint Master Nguang and Saint Master Golden Feather. When he saw Saint Master Nguang, who had been cut in half and died on the spot, and Saint Master Golden Feather, who had fled and whose aura could not even be sensed, his eyes immediately showed pain and unwillingness. Damn it! The Scarlet Sun Demon God that my arcane sect had spent so much effort to create has actually become someone else's wedding dress. However, do you think you can enjoy this Scarlet Sun Demon God with peace of mind? I'm going to spread the news and inform the powerful experts of the other sects on the Meteorite Iron Continent. From now on, you'll be subjected to endless assassinations by me and these powerful experts who covet the Scarlet Sun Demon God. I hope you can still protect the Scarlet Sun Demon God by then. After saying that, he actually made a prompt decision and turned to leave. As the owner of the Scarlet Sun Demon God, he naturally understood how powerful the Scarlet Sun Demon God was. Going against it would only lead to a dead end. Temporarily avoiding it was his only option. Leave. Since I've already appeared here, do you think you can leave? Xing Hui waved his hand and the flowing light boundary formed by the Lihan Heaven Realm immediately enveloped both Discipline King Exu and Xing Hui. The Lihan Heaven Realm. The Lihan Heaven Realm. This is the Lihan Heaven Realm of the Lihan Holy Man. This is the magic item that made the Lihan Holy Man famous. How could it be in your hands? The moment Discipline King Exu was enveloped by the Lihan Heaven Realm, he truly felt the fear of death in his heart. In a few days, the Lihan Heaven Realm has recovered slightly. Even though it hasn't recovered to its peak, as long as I don't give you too many opportunities to destroy the Lihan Heaven Realm, it's more than enough to deal with you. Xing Hui clenched his fist as he sprinted toward Discipline King Exu. Instantly, the space within the Lihan Heaven Realm shrunk continuously, closing the distance between Xing Hui and Discipline King Exu. Very soon, the two of them were about to engage in a life-and-death battle in a small space with a diameter of less than 100 meters. The Scarlet Sun Fiend God's greatest weakness was its speed. With the Lihon Heaven Realm's ability to shrink the battlefield, this weakness of speed was completely compensated for. In fact, even Disciplined King Xu's catoptric deflection was severely restrained in the Lihon Heaven Realm. The catoptric deflection could distort the space outside, but after this space became the home of the Lihon Heaven Realm, how could he reverse it? No! Dharma King Xu roared angrily. The mirror light above his head, formed from the mirrored flowers, reflected moon, spread in all directions in a futile attempt to break free of the hatred parting heaven's restraint and control over this space, but the results were minimal. And while he was attacking the Lihon Heaven Realm with all his might with the catoptric deflection, the Scarlet Sun Fiend God that Xing Hui was piloting had already charged in front of Disciplined King Xu, and then, slash. He raised his sword and slashed. Buzz buzz. At the critical moment, Disciplined King Xu hurriedly channeled the power of the catoptric deflection to block the Scarlet Sun Fiend God's thunderous slash. However, it was useless. Now that the space around Disciplined King Xu was sealed, there was no way to dodge and he could only use the catoptric deflection to block with difficulty. The Scarlet Sun Fiend God's slash did not break the catoptric deflection. No matter. If one slash did not work, then 2 slashes. If 2 slashes did not work, then 3 slashes, 4 slashes, 5 slashes, 6 slashes, slash. 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 Rumble. Violent booms reverberated continuously in the narrow space of the Lihon Heaven Realm. Even though Disciplined King Xu had extraordinary means, he could not dodge or hide. He could only endure the thunderous slashes of the Scarlet Sun Fiend God. I can't accept this. The catoptric deflection finally shattered after being hit by the Scarlet Sun Fiend God's 23rd slash. Accompanied by Disciplined King Xu's sorrowful roar, his entire body was crushed under the giant flaming sword and turned into ashes. Phew! After killing Disciplined King Xu, Xing Hui heaved a long sigh of relief. Disciplined King Xu's determination to fight to the death and his unflinching attitude cut off Xing Hui's thoughts of capturing him alive. Otherwise, Disciplined King Xu might turn the tables if he was not careful. Energy consumption, 14%, 14%, this Scarlet Sun Fiend God is indeed a huge energy user. At this rate, a great sun core will be completely destroyed after 6 or 7 battles. No wonder the Scarlet Sun cult only managed to create 3 Scarlet Sun Fiend Gods back then. It's not that they did not have enough energy to continue creating them, it's just that they did not have enough great sun cores to drive them. I reckon the energy consumption of 3 Scarlet Sun Fiend Gods is almost enough to bankrupt them. Xing Hui glanced at the void battleship that was burning fiercely as it fell into the sea. He did not spend any more effort to continue killing the fleeing arcane art cult members. It would take too much effort. Now that he had exposed the Scarlet Sun Fiend God, it would not be long before the surrounding almighties would pounce on him like sharks that had smelled blood. With the Scarlet Sun Fiend God in hand, he did not care about 3 to 5 almighties. However, once the number of almighties broke through to the double digits, the consequences would be unimaginable. With the help of the incarnation technique, Xing Hui's figure shuttled and soon appeared on the Hidden Sword Continent. When he arrived on the Hidden Sword Continent's Burial Peak, he immediately activated the Burial Sword Peak's Great Formation and enveloped the mountain peak within. He then began to move the captured Golden Elixir Realm cultivators out one by one and woke them up one by one. You have a chance to escape, and that is to use the divine art. If you can escape from this mountain peak, you may still have a way out. Xing Hui said to the Golden Elixir Realm Elder who had been woken up. The divine art, the Golden Elixir Realm Elder's expression was extremely ugly. He immediately begged earnestly, "My lord, us cultivators have experienced countless hardships and dangers in the process of refining our golden elixirs. We have yet to experience the good years ahead of us. I don't want to die in vain like this. I'm willing to serve you from today onwards, at all costs. Please, my lord, give me a way out. You don't have the divine art?" I'm just a first-rank son of chaos. Many of the Tao-carrying treasures have been shared by the various elders. How could I possibly have a chance? The Golden Elixir Realm Elder said bitterly. Then. I'm sorry. As soon as Tsing Hui finished speaking, he did not give the Golden Elixir Realm Elder a chance to react. Brilliant Sword Intense suddenly erupted, illuminating the Elder's mental world and severely injuring it on the spot. Then, the flower-blossoming divine art was unleashed. As the Golden Elixir Realm Elder screamed, it did not take long for all of his essence, qi, and spirit to be absorbed and condensed into a fruit of Tao. The fruit of Tao emitted powerful energy waves. As he looked at the fruit of Tao, Tsing Hui fell silent. He was very clear that he was drifting further and further away from the path of morality. His bottom line had been trampled and reshaped again and again since the incident in the Union of Demon Hunters. What he was doing right now was even more immoral and immoral. But, Tsing Hui closed his eyes and held the fruit of Tao. He sensed the majestic energy that seemed to be completely condensed from the essence of life emanating from the fruit of Tao. Since I've already made a mistake, I can only continue to make a mistake. If I die, I don't care what happens. In the next moment, the fruit of Tao condensed from the essence, qi, and spirit of a Golden Elixir Realm cultivator was refined in one fell swoop. The majestic energy contained within was completely poured into the Scarlet Abyss sword. Continue. After refining the fruit of Tao, Tsing Hui's eyes flashed with a cold light. The next Golden Elixir Realm Elder was once again pulled out from his personal space. Use the divine art and try to escape. This is your only chance, bang. Even though this Golden Elixir Realm Elder knew that his chances of escape were slim, he did not hesitate. The divine art surged, and the energy waves all over his body instantly soared. He rose from the Golden Elixir Realm to the level of a perfected superior-grade Golden Elixir Realm cultivator. After all, the minimum requirement to derive a divine art was a perfected superior-grade Golden Elixir Realm cultivator. Unfortunately, trying to escape from Tsing Hui's hands at this level was still wishful thinking. Not long after, this Golden Elixir Realm Elder was also transformed into a fruit of Tao. Furthermore, it was a superior-grade fruit of Tao that contained energy several times that of an ordinary fruit of Tao. Even though I lost a 10th-level chaos technique and 50 Taoist rhythms, the energy contained in a superior-grade fruit of Tao is nearly 10 times that of an ordinary fruit of Tao. It's close to the level of a golden crow's inner core. It's worth it. Chapter 584. A month later. Tsing Hui looked at the deep scarlet sword in his hand, his eyes sparkling. The deep scarlet sword was overflowing with red light. As he activated the deep scarlet sword with his sword intent, visible red energy ripples spread out. The pressure contained in the ripples was so strong that it was almost tangible. If an ordinary person were to stand in the range of the energy ripples, they would definitely be suffocated by the powerful pressure. Finally, it's complete. Tsing Hui looked at the deep scarlet sword in his hand with an indescribable complexity in his heart. To be able to cultivate a sovereign golden core to complete in such a short period of time was an unimaginable feat for anyone. Even for the geniuses of the heavenly Tao, divine wilderness, and eternal, if they wanted to cultivate a golden core to complete, let alone a sovereign golden core, even a peerless golden core would take a few hundred years. This was under the condition that the sect behind them would spare no effort to support them. If they relied on their own cultivation, the time limit would be at least 1,000 years. Furthermore, they might not even be able to take the final step to complete the golden core. As for him, relying on the extremely evil immortal technique, instant blooming flower, he had shortened the time limit of a few hundred years to a few months, unbelievable. However, thinking of the method he had used to cultivate his golden core to complete the golden core, Tsing Hui fell silent. He slowly put down the deep scarlet sword and closed his eyes. After a while, he opened his eyes again. A dim light flashed in the depths of his eyes. Since I've done it, there's nothing to regret. Perhaps, I will go to hell in the future. However, instead of using the word morality to bind my bottom line, causing me to suffer the condemnation and torment of my conscience, why not completely let go? Morality? Benevolence? It's just a shackle to cover up the fear in my heart. As for the original sin of fear, it stems from weakness. As long as I can continue to be tyrannical, traverse the heavens and earth, look down on everything and become invincible, then I will never have to feel fear. As long as I can be strong enough to silence everyone who stands out to criticize me, and as time passes, no one will say that I'm wrong. Then, I will be right, I will be the truth, I will be the law, I will be the king. Ka-cha. As Tsing Hui's conviction became firm, something in his heart seemed to shatter. All the shackles and restraints in his mind collapsed with a loud bang. His spirit seemed to have completed a transformation at this moment. It was a transformation that had completely integrated into this world. Survival of the fittest, survival of the fittest. In the struggle for the great Tao, there is only death. This path is destined to be full of competition, destined to be full of killing. It is destined that only a few people can climb to the peak by stepping on the corpses of countless competitors. If I follow the morals in my heart and be bound by the benevolence and righteousness in my heart, it is equivalent to binding my own hands and feet to walk on this path of death. Then, what can I use to compete with others? What right do I have to climb to the peak, overlook the world, and do whatever I want to do? Tsing Hui slowly stood up. His aura changed at this moment, and his mental state gradually sublimated. Break the shackles in your heart. Break all the shackles. He wanted to return to Earth and reunite with his family, friends, and senior sisters. He also wanted to reach the peak and see the scenery at the peak of the cultivation path. If this path was destined to be full of thorns and obstacles, then, let him give up everything and wield the sword, kill your way out. I don't need anyone to judge whether I'm right or wrong. I only need to be worthy of myself. Those who don't follow, speak with my sword. Rumble. The moment Tsing Hui completed his spiritual transformation, a brand new sword intent erupted from his spiritual world. Brilliant and blazing. Majestic and mighty. Immeasurable power. At this moment, the conviction contained in the sword intent was no longer pure and indomitable. On this foundation, there was a kind of sharpness and dominance. Wherever the sword pointed, all who stood in its way would die. With this conviction, a flash of inspiration appeared in Tsing Hui's mind. In an instant, countless inspirations burst out from his mind and filled his spiritual world. Divine ability. My divine ability. Buzz. The Scarlet Abyss sword shook violently. The golden core that had fused with the Scarlet Abyss sword seemed to have turned into a scorching sun and exploded with a bang. Endless light and heat exploded from the Scarlet Abyss sword and completely engulfed the entire Scarlet Abyss sword. The resplendent brilliance pierced through the Burial Sword Peak's protective array and went straight into the clouds, shocking the entire Hidden Sword sect. In an instant, countless elders, deacons, and disciples of the Hidden Sword sect rushed out of their secluded cultivation and looked at the sword light that went straight into the clouds in the direction of the Burial Sword Peak with faces full of shock. It's Grand Elder Tsing Hui. That's Grand Elder Tsing Hui's aura. What is Grand Elder Tsing Hui doing? The Burial Sword Peak's protective array is in an active state. Although this protective array is a killing array and does not have the ability to distort space and form a sealed battlefield, it has an astonishing effect on the obstruction of the world's origin energy. This circle of sword light can actually break through the protective array and go straight into the clouds. This is simply divine ability. Divine ability. I feel a trace of divine ability's aura in there. Furthermore, it's not an ordinary divine ability. Could it be that Grand Elder Tsing Hui has already deduced several lesser divine abilities in such a short period of time and is now using those lesser divine abilities to complete his main divine ability so that his main divine ability will have an astonishing power that is not inferior to a great divine ability? Hidden Sword Sect's acting sect master Xiao Luying, Hidden Sword Venerable's second disciple Duan Jianfeng, Iron Jade Peak's peak master Zhou Cunyu, and a group of people from the Divine Grace Chamber of Commerce all looked at the sword light on the Burial Sword Peak in shock and were unable to recover for a long time. At the core of the burial sword peak, Tsing Hui's transformed sword intent had already completely fused with the Scarlet Abyss sword's sword intent and the perfect sovereign golden core. The three resonated with each other and constantly reflected each other, faintly producing a peculiar change. This change was led by Tsing Hui's transformed sword intent, assisted by the Scarlet Abyss sword's sword intent, and supported by the perfect sovereign golden core, causing the three to almost fuse into one and become indistinguishable from each other. It was like a budding seed that was suddenly injected with a strong vitality, completely evolving and breaking out of the ground at this moment. Divine ability. My divine ability. Tsing Hui quietly felt the little changes of the sovereign golden core as it broke out of its cocoon and became a butterfly. Divine ability. Every cultivator's divine ability was different. Even if two people cultivated the same cultivation method and used the same resources and experiences on the path of cultivation, the divine ability that was derived from them could be completely different due to the different thoughts, beliefs, and understandings of the two. Thus, two completely different divine abilities were derived. The evolution of Tsing Hui's divine ability this time was guided by the jump of his spirit and the vibration of his sword intent. The evolution of the divine ability was completely led by his own sword intent. In addition, his foundation was in the Scarlet Abyss sword. When he finally broke through the core and became a god, the derived divine ability was perfectly injected into the Scarlet Abyss sword and the transformed sword intent. After this transformation was completed, his divine ability actually didn't really condense into a real entity, nor did it transform into a powerful and peerless killing move. Instead, it transformed into a peculiar state. A state of aurora that could be obtained when his sword intent and the power of his natal divine sword were stimulated to the extreme. So, this is my divine ability. Tsing Hui carefully felt the various changes that were formed after the perfect golden core and frowned slightly. When the sword intent is stimulated to the extreme, it can activate the divine ability. After the divine ability is activated, its speed will be significantly increased. This is a bit similar to the rainbow transformation technique. However, the rainbow transformation art is purely about speed. My divine ability, on the other hand, perfectly fuses speed and attack together, using terrifying speed to form an attack. Compared to the rainbow transformation art, it has many more variations and can be controlled. Tsing Hui carefully felt it. However, the true power of the divine ability could only be known after using it. Whoosh! In the next moment, Tsing Hui's figure had already turned into sword light and shot straight into the clouds. In an instant, he tore through the clouds and disappeared from the hidden sword sect. So fast! So fast! Oh my god, I actually couldn't react in time. Is it because of the 12th order flying sword? But I don't think I saw Grand Elder Tsing Hui fly on his sword. He relied on his own speed to reach a level not inferior to a 12th order flying sword. The moment Tsing Hui shot out from the burial sword peak, countless golden core experts in the hidden sword sect exclaimed at the same time. However, Tsing Hui did not know about this. His mind was immersed in the changes of the divine ability that had just been derived. He did not even notice that he was not flying on his sword at this moment, but he had erupted with a terrifying speed that was not inferior to a 12th order flying sword. Multitasking, he quickly appeared in an uninhabited mountain thousands of kilometers away from the hidden sword sect. Let me see what kind of changes the activation of the divine ability will bring about. Tsing Hui took a deep breath. Rumble. The sword intent in his spiritual world brazenly exploded like a scorching sun. Endless brilliance mixed with blazing sword intent was used with a loud bang, completely pouring into the deep scarlet sword in his hand that had been remodeled and contained an even stronger power. With the guidance of the sword intent, the deep scarlet sword was activated. His sword intent and the deep scarlet sword were completely integrated into one, causing the surrounding world to become slightly slower. It was not actually slow. Instead, his mind was slow. To put it bluntly, his mind had become faster, so much so that when he looked at the outside world, he instinctively felt that everything in the outside world had become even slower. This is my divine ability. Tsing Hui's eyes widened slightly. In the next moment, the sword intent was activated, and man and sword became one. His entire body seemed to have transformed into a flying sword, instantly shooting out explosively. Whoosh! Space was torn apart. The moment he shot out with all his strength, he could even clearly see circles of ripples spreading out in all directions with him as the center. That was the trajectory formed after tearing apart the vacuum at an extremely fast speed, just like how a boat would create ripples on the surface of a lake when moving on the surface of the lake. At this moment, he was able to create the same effect in the void. Too fast. Too fast. Sing Hui's eyes shone with a bright light. This speed was not just a simple flight speed, but an increase in all aspects. Attack speed, static vision, motion capture, nerve reaction, true chi flow circulation. The moment the divine ability was activated, it was as if he had been added with a speed change gear, directly escaping from a low-speed world into a high-speed world. That feeling was speechless. Chapter 585. Phew. As the burst of sword essence came to an end, Sing Hui panted slightly and exited that wonderful state. This is my divine sense. Sure enough, the derivation of divine sense is closely related to the cultivation method and experience of the cultivator. I can find traces of the rainbow transformation technique, the torch dragon talent, the golden crow talent, and other means in this divine sense. In addition, the most pressing thing in my will is time. First, it was the 10-year deadline. Now that the 10-year deadline has passed, the urgency of time is constantly forcing me. Time can also derive speed, which then formed this strange divine sense that allows me to escape into a high-speed world. Sing Hui's mind was filled with thoughts. Perhaps it was due to the ultimate sword Dao, but his divine ability had changed quite a bit compared to the conventional divine ability. Other divine senses were basically calculated by how many times they were used, but his divine sense was calculated by how long it could last. The divine sense could last as long as the burst of sword essence could last. Moreover, he could sense that the more violent the burst of sword essence was, the more powerful the divine sense would be, and the more significant the acceleration effect would be. Speed often represented attack. A static arrow could not hurt anyone, but when it was shot out, it could take away a life. Moreover, the faster it was shot out, the more lethal it would be. Just like Sing Hui's divine sense, when his speed was increased, his attack would also become fiercer. However, correspondingly, the load on his body would also increase. Looks like I have to find some time to train my physique. Otherwise, if my body can't withstand the air pressure when I move at high speed and the various recoil effects when I slash out with my sword, it will be too late for regrets if I end up losing 800 of my own men every time I pass through. Sing Hui thought to himself. He had decided to cultivate the body forging technique that he had obtained from Shinchong in the map of the War of Chaos. Although the body forging technique was not very advanced, it could allow him to cultivate to the 9 changes realm, which meant that his physical strength was equivalent to the level of an expert in the endless realm. Although a cultivator's vital chi and vital essence had the effect of nourishing the body, most people's physical strength was almost a realm lower than their own. Take Sing Hui for example. Although he had a good foundation and his physical body had broken through many limits, in terms of physical strength, he was at most on par with an expert in the green netherworld realm. At least, he could not use his physical body to resist the power of the battle body. I wonder what level my divine sense is at. Is it a great divine sense or a supreme divine sense? In terms of power, it's not something a great divine sense can compare to. The attack amplification effect brought by speed and acceleration can definitely increase my combat strength by several times. This is definitely not something a great divine sense can bring. However, perhaps because I've changed to the ultimate sword principle, my divine sense has also changed. It actually relies on the time and strength of the explosion of sword intent to maintain the duration of the divine sense. As Tsing Hui flew toward the hidden sword sect, he was deep in thought. However, after a while, he had already sensed something and suddenly stopped in the void. I didn't use the sky splitter sword. Sing Hui glanced below him. In the next moment, divine light condensed and his body shot out like a sword. Swoosh! The clouds were torn apart. The atmosphere was cut. Sing Hui's body directly drew a ditch in the sky and flew dozens of kilometers in an instant. My flying speed has been enhanced by a lot. After testing this result, Sing Hui waved his right hand and the Scarlet Abyss sword, which was entrenched in energy in his body, suddenly shot out and appeared in the palm of his hand. Mysterious light flowed and turned into a divine sword. Then, a sword technique was quickly displayed in his hand: flying stab, swift slash, horizontal sweep, flat slice, counterattack, force slash, fast. 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 Faster than the limit. Unbelievably fast. Unbelievably fast. After a while, the Scarlet Abyss sword turned into a stream of light again and hid in Sing Hui's body. This divine ability has increased my speed by a huge margin. Furthermore, it's not an increase when the divine ability is activated. Instead, it's a constant increase. It can even be said that it's a modification. It has improved my nerves, vision, jinqi, and other aspects, and I've gained a new understanding of the word speed. This discovery made Sing Hui no longer have any doubts about the position of his divine sense. A supreme divine sense. It was definitely a supreme divine sense. Other than a supreme divine sense, he could not imagine what other means could produce such a solidified increase. The increase in my reaction, the increase in my vision, the increase in the speed at which my vital qi circulates, all these effects have gathered together, causing me to be much stronger than before even when I'm not in the state of activating my divine ability. I reckon that there will be hardly anyone in the divine ability realm who will be able to stand against me. Even if I'm unable to block the divine ability of my enemy, I can rely on my extremely sharp reaction to detect it beforehand and dodge it. If I were to face Dharma King Eccentric again, I don't need to directly tear apart his divine ability of mirage. I can rely on the speed at which my body changes to surpass the speed at which he distorts space. Although Dharma King Eccentric's mirage divine sense was strong, the range of space it could distort was limited. He could completely avoid it in advance. Swish! Sword light broke through the air, and Sing Hui directly landed on the Hidden Sword Peak, the main peak of the Hidden Sword sect. Seeing Sing Hui's arrival, the upper echelons of the Hidden Sword Peak, who were still discussing the change of the Hidden Sword Peak, all rushed out. Greetings, Grand Elder. Greetings, Grand Elder Sing Hui. Grand Elder, your aura seems to have faintly changed. Did you have a breakthrough in your cultivation? Sing Hui did not explain too much to these people. He only instructed Xiao Luying, gather all the golden core cultivators of the Hidden Sword sect who are not in seclusion. I need to conduct an experiment. Xiao Luying was startled, but still agreed without hesitation. Yes, Grand Elder, please wait a moment. I will go gather them now. As soon as possible, go to the sword appraising platform. I will wait for you there. After saying that, Sing Hui rose on his sword again and was about to land on the sword appraising platform. However, after a moment, he seemed to have thought of something. The sword appraising platform is not suitable. Go to the Misty Cloud Mountain, which is 1,400 kilometers away from the sect. Yes. Sing Hui nodded and headed in the direction of the Misty Cloud Mountain. Xiao Luying and the others naturally did not dare to let Sing Hui wait for too long. Less than an hour after Sing Hui arrived at the Misty Cloud Mountain, there were already dozens of golden core cultivators flying over. After waiting for a while, the number of golden core elders and peak masters who arrived at the Misty Cloud Mountain had already reached 50. This was also a nameless mountain within the Hidden Sword sect. It was rare to see people here. Usually, some golden core cultivators would come here to try out some secret techniques. Grand Elder, almost everyone has arrived. The rest are either unable to make it back in time or are tied up by other matters and have no time to be distracted. Xiao Luying was a little ashamed. 50, that's about it. Qing Su glanced past the golden core elders one by one and nodded slightly. Very good. I've called you over to cooperate with an experiment of mine. Now, the 50 of you will form the strongest battle formation and attack me with your full strength. 50 of us will form the strongest offensive formation. Xiao Luying was slightly stunned. Then, He asked again with uncertainty. Grand Elder, you want us to form a formation to attack you? The 50 of us can form the strongest constellation will formation in the sect. This is a pure offensive formation. If we fight head-on, it won't be any weaker than an almighty. Very good. Let's use this formation. Come on. Xing Hui said. Xiao Luiying and the others looked at each other and hesitated for a moment. In the end, they decided to trust Xing Hui and said, then Grand Elder, you have to be careful. We'll attack now. As he said that, he had already waved his hand. Immediately, several dozen golden core cultivators rapidly gathered into a formation, surrounding Qing Su in the center. Grand Elder, be careful. Our attack is coming. Let's do it. Xing Hui said calmly. Xiao Luiying didn't hesitate anymore. Following his lead, the 50 golden core cultivators attacked at the same time. In an instant, a powerful energy wave filled the void. It almost sealed the space within a few hundred meters around Xing Hui, leaving no traces behind. Xing Hui looked up and focused his gaze. With the improvement of his vision and reaction speed, he could clearly see the attack trajectories of the 50 golden core cultivators. In the next moment, he had already made the most accurate response. In an instant, even though the attacks of the golden core cultivators were like a storm, Xing Hui, who was in the middle of this force, was constantly flashing and dodging the attacks easily. This, Xiao Luiying, who was leading the attack, looked at Xing Hui, who was casually dodging the attacks of the 50 golden core cultivators. He couldn't help but widen his eyes. He can actually dodge to such an extent. This is your attack. I haven't even fought back yet, but your attacks can't even withstand the corner of my clothes. If I really let you fight against an almighty, how are you going to defend against it? Xing Hui's voice suddenly came from the storm-like attacks. In an instant, Xiao Luiying and the others couldn't help but grit their teeth. Be careful, Grand Elder. We are about to use the power of the golden core. Come. Sect leader, are we really going to use the power of the golden core? Using the power of the golden core is equivalent to using all of your strength in a battle of life and death. I think. A golden core cultivator at the side was a little shocked. Can't all of you see? The Supreme Elder wants to use us to test his limits. Yet now, all of us 50 golden core stage elders and peak masters are attacking together, yet we don't even have the ability to make the Supreme Elder feel danger. How can this be called an experiment? Attack with all you've got. Xiao Luiying roared and unleashed the power of the golden core. A sword light that was several times stronger than before tore through the void, like a giant hand that was about to split the earth, and slashed towards Xing Hui. The other golden core cultivators and peak masters saw that Xiao Luiying had really unleashed the power of the golden core. In addition to Xing Hui's urging, they had no choice but to follow suit and unleash their attacks. In an instant, streams of light that were much stronger than before tore through the sky, almost drowning the void where Xing Hui was. Is this all you can do? Xing Hui's figure flashed and shuttled through the torrent of energy at an unbelievable speed. It was as if he was a surfer walking in the heart of the storm. No matter how violent and ferocious the waves in front of him were, he was always able to turn the danger into safety. This scene fell into the eyes of Xiao Luiying and the other golden core cultivators of the Hidden Sword sect, and they immediately widened their eyes in shock. Almighties are actually this strong? It's not the Almighties who are this strong, it's Grand Elder. I've seen the power of Almighties with my own eyes. Although they are said to be invincible, when faced with a battle formation formed by tens or hundreds of golden core cultivators, they could only dodge and defeat them one by one. There's no one like Grand Elder who can ignore us 50 golden core cultivators like we're nothing. Grand Elder actually has this kind of power. I wonder if he or our Hidden Sword sect's venerable Hidden Sword is stronger. Many of the elders were shocked, and they looked at Xing Hui with even more respect. What you hear is false, but what you see is true. If they didn't see it with their own eyes, they would never understand the power of Grand Elder Xing Hui, whom venerable Hidden Sword sect had invited to look after their sect. Chapter 586. Let's try again. Attack with all your might within a 1,000-meter radius with me as the center. I'll intercept your attacks within this 1,000-meter radius. Xing Hui said slowly after easily dodging the attacks of the 50 golden core powerhouses. Intercept? Xiao Suiying almost thought that he had misheard. Intercepting and dodging were two completely different things. Just like facing an arrow, dodging it was obviously much easier than shooting it down. However, the ability that Xing Hui had just displayed had already deeply shocked them. Even though they felt that Xing Hui's command was unbelievable, they still slowly entered the main topic after being shocked for a moment. Suddenly, the 50 golden core powerhouses attacked again. Streaks of flowing light whizzed and covered the 1,000-meter radius with Xing Hui as the center. Almost as soon as the attacks of the Golden Core Elders were about to enter the 1,000-meter radius, a violent explosion suddenly sounded. Within this area, Xing Hui seemed to have transformed into thousands of shadows in an instant. He constantly flashed and shuttled through every corner of the 50 Golden Core Powerhouses' attacks. Any attack of the Golden Core Elders that entered this area was either cut down by the sword chi or destroyed from afar. Not a single attack missed. Rumble. The violent explosion kept echoing in the void. When the attacks of the 50 Golden Core powerhouses stopped, everyone was stunned on the spot. For a moment, they actually did not have time to launch a second wave of attacks. Obviously, they were already stunned by the scene in front of them. It's about time. It's still a little difficult to block the attacks of 50 Golden Core Elders. However, if it's just dodging, it's much easier. I reckon that with my current speed and reaction, forcefully charging into a formation formed by 100 golden core powerhouses is a piece of cake. Xing Hui already had an accurate understanding of his own abilities. Previously, before he had developed his divine ability, he had to be careful when facing a formation formed by a few dozen people. He had to rely on the speed of the sky splitter to circle around the formation continuously. When there was a slight delay in the formation, he would immediately charge into it and charge back and forth, killing and capturing some golden core powerhouses before retreating far away. He did not dare to face them head-on. However, now, destroying a formation of 100 people head-on was no longer an extravagant hope for him. This divine ability has greatly increased my speed, and, it's an overall increase. When I use this divine ability, I'll be as fast as lightning and chase after light. Then, I'll call it Light Pursuit. After naming it, Xing Hui's face slightly lifted up his head. At this moment, he could be called a true powerful being. He truly had the right to show off in the infinite barren world. Unfortunately, I've yet to come into contact with an invincible existence at the Saint Realm. I'll only be able to determine if I'm a threat to the Saint Realm after I fight one. However, I can be sure that as long as I don't fall into the domain of an invincible expert at the Saint Realm, I'll be able to retreat easily even if such an invincible expert wants to kill me. Xing Hui's heart. All this while, the pressure brought about by the Lihan Holy Man and the Qingwei Holy Man finally dissipated a lot at this moment. Supreme Elder. Xiao Luiying looked at Qing Su, who seemed to be in deep thought, and asked for instructions cautiously. Qing Su glanced at Xiao Luiying before looking at the dumbfounded Golden Core Elders of the Hidden Sword Sect. He said, "All right, that's all. Thank you for your trouble. You may return." Only when the Golden Core Elders heard Qing Su's words did they all return to their senses. They said in a hurry, "It's no trouble at all. It's our honor to be able to serve the Great Elder." Yes, Supreme Elder, if you need anything in the future, feel free to instruct us. Since Supreme Elder has instructed us, we will naturally obey and do our best to carry it out. We will not disobey. The elders and peak masters were all in awe and respect. Some of them looked at Xing Hui with a trace of fear in their eyes. They were really frightened by the terrifying power that Xing Hui had just displayed. If such a powerful being who could disregard the attacks of 50 Aurus Core stage cultivators really wanted to kill them, how could they resist? They had no choice but to die. Very quickly, the group returned to the Hidden Sword Sect. When they arrived at the Hidden Sword sect, the Golden Core elders and peak masters quickly spread the news of what had just happened throughout the entire Hidden Sword sect. This news caused the entire Hidden Sword sect to become even more excited and united. At the same time, it also caused the atmosphere within the sect to change once again. All the demons and monsters disappeared without a trace, and the entire Hidden Sword sect welcomed an unprecedented rule of the universe. When the Hidden Swordmaster returns, I should go to the Infinite Barren Lands. In the past, I might not have been able to help much in the battle between Tianqiong and the Heavenly Axiom, but now. Xing Hui thought that as long as he did not meet an invincible divine stage cultivator, he would be able to suppress even a peak avatar of Heaven and Earth stage cultivator. After all, the strength of an avatar of Heaven and Earth stage cultivator lay in the multifold increase in attack and defense when they entered the avatar of Heaven and Earth state. Once Xing Hui used the lightning tactic, relying on the power of the Supreme Light Chaser, he would not give the avatar of Heaven and Earth stage cultivators any time to enter the avatar of Heaven and Earth state. They were only slightly stronger divine stage cultivators, and Xing Hui in the Light Chaser state could take on 10 of them. In fact, even if a peak avatar of Heaven and Earth stage cultivator could not suppress his Light Chaser state, he would only know after the battle. Once I reach the divine stage, I will enter the avatar of Heaven and Earth. The avatar of Heaven and Earth requires an understanding of the laws of Heaven and Earth. Only by fully comprehending the laws of Heaven and Earth can one be supported by the power of the laws of Heaven and Earth, thereby increasing one's attack power. The laws of Heaven and Earth. Xing Hui glanced at his character model. His attack level had increased by a large margin, reaching level 119, nearing the level of the avatar of Heaven and Earth. However, because the attack model did not show the increase in the divine stage, this value was not worth considering. As for his defense level, it had dropped tremendously. Once an attack hit its target, even a Golden Core stage cultivator would be able to inflict fatal damage on him. The only thing that he was somewhat thankful for was his spiritual level. His spiritual level had actually reached an astonishing level 125, an increase of 6 levels. Xing Hui guessed that this had to do with him severing the fetters of morality and facing the good and evil in his heart. After looking at it for a while, Xing Hui withdrew his gaze from the Chaos Temple. What he needed to do next was to do all he could to unearth all the mysteries of the Supreme Light Chaser. Speed could bring about attacks, but the burden on the body was also extremely great. Xing Hui had already vaguely felt that because his spiritual level was still low, the duration of the Light Chaser state was limited, and the burden on his body had not yet shown. However, as his spiritual level continued to increase, the explosive effect of the Light Chaser would become more and more obvious. There would come a day when his body would not be able to bear the explosive effect of the Light Chaser and become a shackle that prevented the further advancement of this divine stage. Thinking of this, Xing Hui had already taken out the body refining technique that he had traded with Shin Chong in the battlefield of the Chaos Temple, the 9 transformations of the Real Dragon. Although the 9 transformations of the Real Dragon had the 2 words Real Dragon in it, it could not be truly cultivated to the level of the Real Dragon stage where the physical body could contend against a Golden Core stage cultivator. The limit of cultivation was only comparable to a never-ending stage cultivator, but even so, it could still be considered terrifying. Xing Hui's gaze swept across the 9 transformations of the Real Dragon one by one, and he quickly understood the mystery of the first transformation. With a strong physical foundation, Xing Hui had already completed the cultivation of the first transformation of the 9 transformations of the Real Dragon in just a few breaths. Accompanied by a slight sound from his body, the speed of the qi and blood circulating throughout his body had obviously increased by a notch compared to before. It's true that the strength of my body has already reached the level of the Green Hell stage, which is the 5th transformation of the 9 transformations of the Real Dragon. Logically speaking, the cultivation of the first transformation would not have any effect on my body, but in fact, the 9 transformations of the Real Dragon strengthen the function of the bone marrow to produce blood and the heart to circulate blood through the condensation of blood, causing the speed of my qi and blood to surge faster, and thus slightly increasing the strength of my body. Xing Hui looked at it for a moment, and his gaze quickly turned to the second transformation of the 9 transformations of the Real Dragon. In fact, The cultivation system of this world also had the refinement and accumulation of the physical body, which was the 6 stages of the mortal realm: foundation establishment, bone tempering, tendons transformation, marrow cleansing, organs refinement, and blood transformation. However, these 6 stages only dug out the potential of a human to the limit. Usually, it was enough for the cultivator's body to be able to withstand the power of a divine beast's soul. There was no need to dig deeper, let alone consume the blood of powerful spiritual beasts, sacred beasts, or even divine beasts to strengthen one's body. However, the cultivation method of the 9 transformations of the real dragon was different. All of his cultivation was based on the person. He did his best to dig out the potential energy in the human body, and supplemented it with some treasures of the world to expand the limits of the human body's potential. Especially when it came to the real dragon realm, this stage could allow a person to undergo a complete transformation, forming a leap in the essence of life. Once it was cultivated, the strength of one's battle prowess would surpass that of an ordinary golden elixir stage expert. Unfortunately, Xing Hui did not have the cultivation method of the real dragon realm in his hands. It's a pity that every time the War of Chaos starts, the battlefield is different, and the cultivation system of the world is even more strange. If I want to go to the world with the cultivation system of the 9 transformations of the real dragon again, it all depends on luck. If I have the chance to go to that world again, I may have the opportunity to obtain the cultivation method of the 9 transformations of the real dragon and break through to the real dragon realm, the holy dragon realm, or even the highest realm, the divine dragon realm. Xing Hui thought to himself, and divided his spirit to take a look at the Chaos Treasure Pavilion. He really wanted to buy a token of the world of battle. On the one hand, when he encountered a life-and-death crisis, he could use the token of the world of battle to drag the enemy into the battlefield of the War of Chaos, and then use his higher level of chaos to reverse the situation and turn defeat into victory. On the other hand, he could use the token of the world of battle to explore other worlds and see if he could obtain the cultivation system of other worlds to improve himself. Unfortunately, the last refresh of the Chaos Treasure Pavilion was not long ago, and there were still no new items. It's not advisable to rely on the Chaos Treasure Pavilion to update the token of the world of battle. Then, I'll buy one. The token of the world of battle is not a particularly popular item. If I offer a higher price, it's not difficult to buy one. Moreover, this kind of transaction is good for Tianqiong. I can also consider selling the Chaos Incantation of Holy Master Xianbing to a powerful junior of Tianqiong. Xing Hui did not sell the Chaos Incantation of Holy Master Xianbing to Tianqiong. On the one hand, he did not want to aggravate the conflict between Tianqiong and the Way of Heaven. On the other hand, he was worried that he would not be able to sell it at a good price. But now, Tianqiong and the Way of Heaven had almost completely fallen out with each other, and it did not matter whether the conflict intensified or not. Anyway, even if he did not sell the Chaos Incantation of Holy Master Xianbing, Holy Master Qingwei would not let him and Tianqiong go. In this case, why not use this Chaos Incantation of level 29 to slightly increase the strength of Tianqiong? You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.